Falk, the freshman, went out on the first play of the game with an injury. And there goes Cleveland inside the 15, down to close to the 13-yard line. Mark Smith, the linebacker, made the hit there, and he's close to another first down.
LSU playing for that all-important 6th win and a possible bowl berth.
So it's 3rd and 2 at the inside the 15-yard line.
LSU 3 for 3 on 3rd down conversions in this drive.
Here goes the option with Kyler. Inside the 10, inside the 5, down to the goal line. And at this point, the Arkansas Razorbacks, the #1 rushing defense in the SEC, #2 overall, trying to find some way to stop LSU, and they haven't figured it out yet.
You know, when they talk about this freshman being mature beyond his years, that's an understatement. Look at the block he gets from Faneca, 66, leading him around the corner. Then he breaks 2 tackles and then uses his strength. He's got tremendous lower body strength. Put the ball on the ground at the 1. But look at this. He sets up the possible touchdown for LSU down deep with a first.
First and goal inside the 1. The ball's on the ground, and here come the flags and the whistle.
That play was all messed up before it ever began.
Yeah, really the first mistake we've seen offensively from LSU yet. Not a time Gerry Dinardo wants to see it start happening.
We have a dead ball. Offensive lineman move prior to the snap. Be 5 yards. Repeat the down.
All right, so you heard it's a 5-yard penalty. Todd McClure was late with the snap. The rest of the offensive line moved. And again, I'll tell you that this is the youngest battery in all of college football. It is a true freshman at center. Todd McClure, he's 18 years old, snapping to Herbert Tyler, an 18-year-old freshman. So 2 very young guys there with that mistake.
And Anthony McFarland now, a defensive tackle in the backfield. There is no fullback on this roster for LSU. Kendall Cleveland wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage. And going backwards. So down near the goal line, the Razorbacks get a little bit stingy with their defense.
Youth, inconsistency, and the penalty that's killing LSU right here once they got down to the 1. Cary absolutely had nowhere, or Cleveland rather, had absolutely nowhere to go. 7 white jerseys, or red jerseys rather, around them.
And a 6-12 and counting here in the first. This is the 18th play of the drive coming up. LSU has had it since the opening kick. And now Eddie Kennison in the backfield. McFarland went out, and Kennison goes in motion to the far side. Tyler coming back, looking. He won't find any room. Down he goes at the 10-yard line. Del Delco ran him out of bounds.
That was a broken play. I think he was supposed to come around on the waggle. Jolie Dunn had the right defense called, and they were coming in from the backside, forced him backwards. Take a look at this play action. He was supposed to go to the right. Here he comes to the left, right into your screen. By the time he gets to that side, absolutely no chances. Del Delco, the strong safety, or what they like to call the hog safety, hog-tied him.
So it's 3rd and goal at the 10 after having 1st and goal at the 1 for the Tigers. Cleveland, the lone setback. Wilson and Kennison to the right side. Tyler to throw to the end zone. And he's got his man, Cedric Wilson, for a touchdown. Well, they couldn't punch it in on the ground, so they went to the air. A 9-yard pass from Herbert Tyler to Cedric Wilson. And the Tigers on the board early. Wilson's 6th touchdown catch of the year. And the extra point up and good. Andre LaFleur puts one through the upright.
Boy, how strong is this for Tyler? This ball is perfectly thrown on the out pattern. Number 1, it's a long pass, but watch how he just leads Wilson. Wilson never breaks stride, and all of a sudden the freshman Tyler's 4 or 5, 35 yards and a touchdown. Now, granted, he's throwing to 2 quality receivers, Kennison and Wilson, But Arkansas is coming with stunts. They're playing games. And the freshman is not shaking. And Wilson comes up with a touchdown.
Wilson with 4 catches on that opening drive, including the touchdown catch. And 2 key catches early to get first down.
Tyler looks like he's a little bit shaken up.
19 plays, 80 yards, and almost 10 minutes off the clock. And so the Tigers trying to get that magic number 6 in the win column, and an opportunity to go to a bowl with a very nice start here in Baton Rouge.
And with as many young guys as they have, as many freshmen as they're playing, this early success now just builds confidence. And also keeps the crowd very much in it.
Wade Ritchie, who's got a leg and a half, will kick it off for the Tigers. Back deep, Corey Nichols and Marius Johnson. And Nichols goes about 6 yards deep and down to 1 knee. They don't bring many out from Wade Ritchie.
No, that's exactly right. As a matter of fact, they ought to call him touchback. Seems like every time he kicks it, the ball is not returned. It's deep in the end zone.
Automatic. So Barry Lunny set to come out and lead the Arkansas offense, who will need to sustain the drive here to match the opening drive of LSU.
This will be fun. Let's keep the numbers on Lunny today. He's ready to pass Joe Ferguson's records. He needs 270 passing yards. He only needs 8 completions.
And as for the single season records, he owns all the career records already. 7-0 LSU. First and 10 at the 20 for the Razorbacks. Madre Hill in the backfield. Guess who gets the call? Madre. But nothing doing. Maybe to the line of scrimmage or ahead for a half a yard. Anthony McFarland, who was in the backfield down near the goal line moments ago, made the stop.
I'm surprised there wasn't a flag thrown on that play, because it looked to me like Hill actually moved before the snap, trying to anticipate the count to get the break on the hole.
Boy, he's been something else this year in his sophomore season. 151 yards last week against Southwestern Louisiana. 2nd and 10 for the Razorbacks. And incomplete on the far sideline. We're in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on a perfect afternoon for football. About 80,000 folks have crowded into Tiger Stadium. Number 14, Arkansas taking on LSU. Arkansas, the Southeast Western Division champ. Of course, will play Florida for the title on December 2nd on ABC. But LSU trying to get their 6th win and go to a bowl. Terry Gannon, Tim Brandt, and Lewis Johnson. The Tigers took it all the way down and scored the TD on their opening drive of the football game. Barry Lunny over the middle and complete to Eubanks at the 30-yard line. And that should move the chains. With a first down, Talby Crawford made the stop.
LSU in its very first possession came down in 19 plays, 80 yards, and then this touchdown from the freshman Tyler, the quarterback, to Wilson. Perfectly thrown in stride. Wilson having a great season. Puts LSU on the board, but the drive took almost 10 minutes. Ate up a lot of the clock, kept Arkansas's offense off the field. LSU with a young team doing exactly what it has to do.
So first down at the 31, Madre Hill to the near side. Wrapped up in the backfield at the 30-yard line. Alan Stansberry, the number 1 tackler on this team, made the hit.
Stansberry got there first, and then Lenton really tagged him and cleaned up.
And Barry Lunny, his numbers, of course, we mentioned he is the career leader in so many different lists, trying to get the yardage for the single season record. Joe Ferguson now holding that.
You know, this is Lunny's 4th start against LSU, and he's been hot against them all the time. You see J.J. Metters there? This group has a lot of speed. Metters is only 5'6", 152 yards.
Barry Lunny on the rollout. J.J. Metters, there he is. All 5'6" of them out to the 36-yard line.
I said 152 yards.
Yeah, I know.
I'm already thinking he's having a big day.
I'm not sure he's 156 pounds either, to be honest with you. Chile starting lineup continues with the offensive line, and a solid line led by Burl Mitchell.
It is. This line's a little bit quicker than they've had in the past. It averages 280 yards, or 80 pounds. There I go again. But the coaches say they like the quickness of this, and the guys are very smart. I mean, they've got good hands, good feet, good balance.
So it brings up 3rd and 5 at the 36. Madre Hill, the lone setback, 3 receiver set. Straight drop for Lunny in time. But he overthrows Metters, who wanted a flag. The coverage by Denard Walker, the right cornerback, and Metters thought he was holding it. Tigers hold on Arkansas's first drive. And yeah, they're having fun in the stands today. Senior Day here in Baton Rouge, the last game of the year here. And the hopes of a winning season in a bowl game. And back deep is the very dangerous Eddie Kennison, the leading returner in the SEC. That waits punt short and takes an LSU bounce. They're going to bring that back to the 41-yard line. A punt of only 22 yards, and again, good field position for the Tigers, and they lead it by a touchdown.
It's just not Chili's till you light up the grill, and that means steaks, like our new Solano strip steak and new steak pico, smothered with onions, bell peppers, and 2 kinds of cheese. So round up the gang and herd them on down to Chili's. Chili's grills like no place else.
Company sells snorkels. Is shocked by high shipping costs. Goes to post office. Finds parcel post is a smart solution. Doesn't cost much. Snorkels get delivered. Company keeps its head above water. Person needs to send resume to New York. Wants to make a big impression. Goes to post office. Finds out priority mail is a smart solution. Resume gets noticed. Person gets job. Now if you can only get a cab.
Get on your Pontiac and drive, drive, drive.
Did you ever dream of driving in a Grand Prix? The sound of a 215 horsepower, 24-valve engine roaring to life. The hold of the four-wheel independent suspension yearning for the next turn. The sense of control from a cockpit designed for driving. Then you know why the Pontiac Grand Prix is named Grand Prix.
We are driving excitement, Pontiac.
Sunday on This Week with David Brinkley, the Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, leading the Republican charge in the government shutdown in Washington. Will he compromise with President Clinton? Sunday.
He's only a freshman, folks, but he's running the show for the LSU Tigers. Of course, Jamie Howard out with a shoulder injury, and Herbert Tyler, the numbers on him coming into the game, I think very impressive, Tim, running the show.
I agree with that, and if you look right up top where it says freshman, third start, he's 18 years old. I think that is the most impressive thing. He's mature beyond his years, and that first drive was just perfect.
And good sign for Gerry Dinardo. Kevin Falk, the freshman running back in the game. He was injured on the first play of the game and sat out the entire drive. And here he comes to the near side with a hole across the 45 up to the 46-yard line. Junior Soley, the senior out of Columbus, Georgia, made the stop. So Chili's backs and receivers for LSU. Some talented receivers in Kennison and Wilson. Of course, the freshman, Kevin Falk, everyone talks about.
And the coaches talk more speed overall in this group than they've had in past years. Kevin Falk, we talked about earlier. I saw him first as a junior, then I saw tapes on him last year as a senior. One of the most highly sought-after players in America. And there's Wilson, who caught the touchdown pass.
Yeah, and there's Kennison, number 7 and number 8 on the all-time receiving list here at LSU. 2nd and 6, the option. Going down is Tyler, nowhere to go. A lot of red jerseys around him that time. Yeah, the offensive line for the LSU Tigers, a very strong right side most of the time. You'll see them trying to run to that side.
Faneca has already thrown a key block. Bordelon also is an outstanding player. McClure we highlight because he's a true freshman, 18 years old. His brother Trey plays baseball here, but this guy, a lot of pressure on him now. Coming in, he played well last week when Carmouche went down with an injured knee. McClure now starting, and a lot of pressure on him.
In fact, all 3 of their centers have injured knees right now. That's one thing that Arkansas has really been able to stay away from. They've been very lucky in terms of not getting any injuries. 3rd and 6, the pass is Cedric Wilson, a first down. Inside the 45 to the 42. And we take it for the first time. Our buddy John Saunders up in New York in the studio. John?
All right, Terry, thanks a lot. We're going to talk a little tennis up here in New York. The WTA Championship, the final is set. It will be Steffi Graf against Anka Huber. You can see that right here on ABC tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Terry, back to you.
All right, John, a little tennis tomorrow, but nothing but college football this afternoon right here. 7-0, LSU leading Arkansas.
You know, I can't help but think back to our conversation here with Morris Watts yesterday, the offensive coordinator for LSU. He said, we're going to see if this kid can throw. He's 5 of 6. He's throwing rockets.
They're finding out, aren't they? Well, that time Wilson slipped. Ball may have been overthrown anyway, but Cedric Wilson was down on the turf at the 30-yard line. And the defense that Wilson and the Tigers are facing today up front, very solid, and brother of the great long jumper and triple jumper Mike Conley at that defensive end spot.
Former track guy himself, he has 13 sacks. He's huge. He's 6'5", 221 pounds. He runs real well. Now here's a 6'5" guy. He'll be putting pressure on a 5'10" quarterback. He's got that big wingspan. That could be a problem too.
Well, the defense has struggled so far for Arkansas in stopping Tyler. 5 of 7 on the afternoon. They're all to Cedric Wilson for 48 yards and a touchdown. Straight drop. He has hit it. He lets it go, and there's the tight end, David LaFleur, close to a first down. He may have gotten a foot across the marker. Anthony Hicks was right in the face of Herbert Tyler, but he got it to LaFleur. The defensive backs for Arkansas being tested early here.
Of course, that secondary has done a nice job for most of the year. Coach Dunn says that Nunnerly has to have a big game today. They've got to get some pressure out of their safeties. They're going to cheat guys up. They're also going to blitz a lot.
And the blitz has yet to get for Herbert Tyler. You know, the problem you have now, too, if you're Arkansas, Wilson having such a hot day, but you have to respect the speed of Eddie Kennison. Ball, some hard yards up to the 30 and stopped there.
Already, Tyler, the freshman quarterback, has been able to earn the respect from the Arkansas coaches. And I can tell you why. Now, they were in a 40 nickel that time. In other words, they had 4 down linemen. They also had 5 defensive backs in because they're starting to respect the pass and this kid's arm. So that'll open things up for the running game.
Danny Ford's defense has to face an offense with a very talented youngster running the football, Kevin Falk. And so far, the Tigers have had their way here in Baton Rouge. The crowd on its feet as we take you to break at the end of the first.
For years, in your passion for performance sedans, you look to Europe and you pay a painful price. Now there's a new 240 horsepower Pontiac Bonneville. So precise, so responsive, it hardwires your impulses directly to the road. All at a price thousands less than you were prepared to pay. The new Pontiac Bonneville. It makes your passion painless, but no less intense.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I.
From this day forward, you will be the most important part of the toughest, strongest, smartest army in the world. You will be a soldier. Where else can you be all this and earn this? $30,000 for college.
All that you can be.
For years, people have done their thinking on the run. Now, they can do their business on the run, thanks to the breakthrough that fits in your pocket. Zorus, the personal digital assistant from Sharp that gives you the freedom to write it, type it, sign it, and fax it anytime, anywhere.
John, hello, mate. Just got your fax. But you really should get out of the office a bit more.
The challenge, combine quality intercollegiate athletics with academic standards of the highest order. For more than 60 years, these fundamentals have fostered a tradition rich with championship performances, scholastic excellence, and legendary leaders. Today, the SEC remains dedicated to the same ideals. For a commitment to excellence endures the test of time.
The Arkansas bench maybe a little shell-shocked at this point. They came in looking for win number 9 and possibly a New Year's Day bowl. They could win here and whatever happens against Florida in the SEC Championship. LSU, though, needing a win to go to a bowl and maybe a little more motivation today.
Yeah, you would think so. LSU has to get that 6th win to have consideration to actually qualify for a bowl.
2nd and 9. Falk gets the carry down to about the 25-yard line. Vincent Bradford, the linebacker, made the hit.
It's going to be, I think it's still a little bit early in the game, though, to say Arkansas is playing complacent. I mean, you know, this is a team really that wants that 9th win, and also they were pumped coming in because they were the underdog and didn't think they should be.
Kevin Falk coming out now, injured on the first play of the game and didn't play the rest of that drive, but now back in and healthy. And LSU looking at a 3rd and 5. They are 6 for 6 so far on 3rd down. Herbert Tyler, the freshman. He's got Wilson inside the 10 at the 9. Mike not only made the stop, but how about Herbert Tyler to Shedrick Wilson so far in this game? A gain of 16 and a first down inside the 10.
Now, that ball was thrown with great confidence. You wouldn't think of a freshman doing this. Arkansas was in a zone. They got Wilson right in the seam. He actually threw this ball before the break. Watch. The ball's released. Now the break comes right into the hole of the zone, into the seam. Bingo. Great throw, catch, down inside the 10, 1st and goal.
That's the only player that he's thrown to. Shedrick Wilson, 6 catches for 64 yards. Kendall Cleveland bust to the right side, inside the 5.
Why change?
No question. You hand it off every once in a while, you go back to Wilson. Mark Smith made the tackle, but Gerry Dinardo's club right now moving the football, and a little clap of the hands for the first-year head coach here.
Yeah, I don't think that's the only wide receiver he's thrown to. He did throw a pass complete to LaFleur.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The tight end caught a pass, but the only wideout, as you look at Kendall Cleveland, a little fumble.
Made it exciting, didn't it? Fumbled it, made his own catch, and went down. Give him a completion.
1st and goal inside the 5. At the 4-yard line, Cleveland trying the left side and bumps through to the end zone. Kendall Cleveland with a power run to the end zone. How about the start for the Tigers?
And how physical was that? LSU just took it at him and ran over him.
LaFleur on for the extra point, and it's good.
Boy, give Wells, King, McClure, Faneca, and Bordelon a lot of credit. That LSU offensive line, watch them fire out, and then watch Cleveland bang this thing in and carry red jerseys into the end zone for the touchdown.
So I go pick up a pizza. Say I'll be right back. Took my new Pontiac Grand Am. Turned a little errand into an opportunity. Maybe take a little side trip. Pizza's still warm. This new twin cam engine loves being let loose. The way it turns, hang on little mushrooms. It's nice to put your right foot down and mean it. Uh-oh, she sent someone out to look for me. That's the problem with a hot car like the Grand Am. You end up bringing home cold pizza.
We are driving excitement, Pontiac.
Ace ran the casino.
I am the boss.
Nicky ran the money.
I'm trying to make a living, that's all.
They shared a dream called Las Vegas.
Look at this place. It's made of money.
That was just too good to last.
You didn't see it. You were being set up.
Robert De Niro.
You buried me.
I buried you.
Sharon Stone.
Kill him.
Joe Pesci.
I owe the guy 35 years. I'm going to whack him for you.
A Martin Scorsese film. Casino. Rated R. Starts Wednesday at theaters everywhere.
What is thy bidding, my master?
There is a great disturbance in the Force. It is better. If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Still going. Long-lasting Energizer batteries keep going and going.
CFA College Football on ABC Sports, brought to you by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We are driving excitement. United Airlines and its 55,000 employee owners. Come fly our friendly skies. Old Spice Soothing Gel. It takes the heat out of shaving, and now you've got proof. And Beechwood Age Budweiser, the king of beers. This Bud's for you. How impressive have the Tigers been to this point, huh? 14-0 over the number 2 defense overall in the SEC, the number 1 rushing defense in the SEC.
But the Arkansas coaches, Terry, have to feel that their players have just been embarrassed in that first quarter. LSU held it for over 14 minutes.
Marius Johnson, 7 yards deep. Forget about it. Wade Ritchie sending it to touchback time again. And the Razorbacks will come out to the 20 for their second drive of the football game. We'll step away.
Horsepower. 2 airbags. And 2 easy open tops. The Pontiac Firebird T-Top and Firebird Convertible. Too cool.
At BASF, we don't make the mattress. We make it softer. We don't make the boots, we make them drier. We don't make the house, we make it livelier. We don't make the snowboard, we make it stronger. At BASF, we don't make a lot of the products you buy. We make a lot of the products you buy better. BASF.
Here's a look at today's action in the SEC, and of course it does have bowl implications. Florida with the win over Vandy. They've already won the Eastern Division title. Tennessee had to squeak out a 3-point win over Kentucky. 38-17. Clemson with a win over South Carolina. Of course, our score 14-0 right now. The Clemson game also implications in terms of the ACC. We'll run down the whole bowl picture for you throughout the game. Larry Lunny on the option. Wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage. He's going to lose a yard. Anthony McFarland in the backfield again, along with Chuck Wiley. And you look at the SEC standings as they are right now.
Seeing a loss today by Arkansas, if that would happen, would be huge for them. On the flip side of that, LSU has to get its 6th win to even qualify for a bowl.
In Tennessee, I mean, a huge win for them in terms of their ranking, their overall record, and a loss, you know, in terms of the Citrus Bowl, the Outback Bowl, and where they would have gone. Of course, Arkansas with a chance to win the SEC title with a championship game win over Florida. Straight ahead, Mondre Hill. Only a couple. This is a very good defense on the field for the Tigers. Pat Roger made the stop. And the bowl tie-ins, very complicated. There's no question about that. But the Alliance, Nokia Sugar, Fiesta, and Orange, the number 1 team, the winner of that championship game would go there. The number 2 pick would go to the CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl. The number 3 pick, the Outback, and down the line. But
yeah, and the CompUSA, the Citrus Bowl, that's where this club would love to play, Arkansas.
Exactly. And with a win today, they take a step towards that. Either the Citrus Bowl or the Outback Bowl are both on New Year's Day. That's their goal.
LSU wins today. I say they go to the Independence Bowl.
I think you're right. It's Shreveport. Lunny scrambling outside. And down he goes inside the 15. Alan Stansbury, the linebacker, wrapped him up that there was a host of jerseys in on it. White jerseys all around Barry Lunny. And this is a defense that is fired up.
Well, I mean, they're aggressive, too. They're coming. They're playing games. They're stemming. Look at this. Lunny feels the pressure, tries to get out of the pocket, but there's quickness on this defense. You know, LSU led the conference in total defense in '94. LSU's best-kept secret last year was its strength on defense this year, and that they have been playing well.
Matt Waite back to punt at his own goal line. Eddie Kennison back deep, very dangerous, the leading punt returner in the SEC. And the fair catch at the 49-yard line, and LSU fans wanted a flag, but clearly he was blocked into it. 36-yard punt, good field position for the Tigers.
If you buy a Cavalier today, we wouldn't be surprised if by the time it's scheduled for a tune-up, you've already got it paid off. If by the time it needs new rear shocks, you have your master's degree. If by the time it needs a transmission fluid change, your baby is in first grade. Or if by the time it needs a new muffler, we've elected 2 presidents. Any car can be easy to buy. Cavalier is easy to own. That's what makes it a genuine Chevrolet.
Any sign of them yet?
Nope.
Execute. Let's move, move, move.
Where are they?
Well, I'm sure they're on their way.
Don't worry, they'll make it.
They're coming! I see them! They're here!
Toy Story toys have arrived at Burger King with the stars from the magical Disney movie. Your kids can collect all 6 high-quality toys, one with every great-tasting $1.99 Kids Club meal, only at Burger King.
Yeah, I knew you guys would make it.
The $1.99 Kids Club meal at Burger King.
Once, every computer was an island. Then came networking. Pioneered by Novell, networking gave computers the ability to work together. Today, Novell is taking networking to the next level, connecting people with information and each other on a scale to stagger the imagination. Where do you find companies with such direct access to the future? Actually, there's a list of them printed every day. NASDAQ, the stock market for the next 100 years.
Couples, Haven, Jacobson, Watson. Golf's best duel in the desert in the Skins game, Thanksgiving weekend on ABC.
These are the potential bowl teams from the SEC. Of course, Florida, Tennessee, Arkansas. Alabama technically eligible for a bowl right now, pending their appeal to the NCAA. Until that's ruled on, they are eligible to go to a bowl game. Georgia needs their 6th win on Thanksgiving Day on ABC against Georgia Tech. And it'll be a very good year from the SEC, but of course Alabama, Georgia still up in the air. Straight ahead. Kevin Falk with the run and about 9 yards. And here are the probabilities as of this moment, Tim.
Well, we were talking about the Citrus Bowl. Obviously, Arkansas would like to be there. Tennessee, if they don't make the alliance, and that too is huge. Of course, Florida, Arkansas is the game that everybody's pointing to now, which is, of course, the SEC championship game. And Florida, a winner there, would complete a great regular season.
And Arkansas feels the worst in terms of that 1 through 4 they can beat is in the Peach Bowl. Kendall Cleveland with the carry across the 40 and down to the 37-yard line, and a first down for LSU.
This game has been all LSU. Listen to this. LSU has run 31 plays to only 9 for Arkansas. It's been dominant. Wow. Hogs haven't shown up yet.
They had the ball for about 15 minutes plus. UCLA with a big lead over USC. Jamie Howard on the sidelines. You saw the brace on his shoulder. Went out in the Florida game and then got injured again in the Alabama game and out for the year. And it's officially a right shoulder bruise as Tyler across the 35. The ball is loose for a moment, and Arkansas has it.
You know, I'm not sure that was a fumble. I thought the ground caused it.
Well, I did too. It was a late whistle, a late signal.
The referee and the side judge were right there. And the back judge came up and said, hey, no, this is a fumble, and overruled it. Watch this and see if the ball's still in his arms when he hits.
Oh, his knee's down.
No, but that ball, that's...
Was it loose?
Yeah, I'd rule that a fumble. That was out. Good call.
It was close.
Good call.
It was close. We might go back and forth on this.
That ball's out.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. I think the knee may have been down. In any case, it's going to Arkansas. Mike Nunnerly, free safety, came up with it.
See if this is enough to give Arkansas a little goose. Get them going here.
First and 10 at the 34. And no goose there. Right at the line. Boy, this has been tough going for Montre Hill and the Arkansas Razorbacks against the defensive line. Take a look at the fumble again. Watch the right knee if it is indeed down before. Well, I tell you, I think it's down.
See, but I think the ball is out at that same time. The ball is blocked out. Moot point. It's Arkansas's game.
Well, it's Arkansas's ball, at least at this point, but those are the things we love to argue about. The timeout has been called by the Razorbacks. They'll have 2nd and 10 at the 34 when we come back to Baton Rouge.
Tending your land, getting your hands back in the soil, working with the sun on your back. Could anything be more rewarding?
Yeah, paying someone else to do it for you. Like Ned, Joe, and Tom. That's what Visa Gold's for, with enough purchase power to turn your yard green. And what could be more relaxing than mowing it yourself? Paying Al. Visa Gold, it's everywhere you want to be.
There are more than 77 million parents in America today. 77 million moms and dads, all doing the same thing, worrying about their kids. That's why you need Chevy Lumina, a car you can trust. Lumina offers an integrated child safety package. Few cars can offer your kids this protection, and no car in its class can offer it for the price of a Lumina. For 77 million of you, that's one less thing to worry about. That's genuine Chevrolet.
Canon. Now you can. Print this. Print that. Make a set. Make 1,000. Print them in color. Fax this now. Fax this later. File this. Scan that. As your document processing needs grow more complex, the answer is simple. Canon has the systems that are the solution. Canon. Now you can.
It was at the 1966 Cotton Bowl that these two teams met in Arkansas on a 22-game winning streak. Defending national champions looking to do it again that year. But a couple of scores in the second quarter. One by Joel Abruzzo from the 1-yard line. And the Tigers win it 14-7. And Arkansas may have been the #1 team in the country had they won that game. The #1 team lost earlier in the day. But here with 9:37 left, Tim, it's 14-0 LSU. Barry Lunny over the middle, complete at the 47-yard line. Anthony Eubanks on the catch.
Excuse me, Terry. I was going to say that Rocky Felker, the quarterback coach, is now starting to spread the field. Danny Ford starting to spread the field a little bit.
And there's your lineup next Saturday on ABC. Florida State and Florida, big rivalry, of course. Or Ohio State and Michigan. And then at 3:30 Eastern, golf's most entertaining event, maybe, huh? The defending champ Tom Watson, Fred Couples, Corey Pavin, Peter Jacobson in the Skins game. It's all next Saturday on ABC. Lunny looking for room. Falls ahead for a gain of maybe 2.
Barry Lunny that time trying to read the outside guy. Actually probably should have pitched it back to Mondre Hill. James Gilliard took the quarterback. Pitched it. He had some room outside.
Gilliard, a 4-year starter and one of the 2 outstanding defensive ends on this LSU defense. 6 sacks on the year for Gilliard. And on the other end, Gabe Northern with 7 sacks and a lot of pressure coming from the outside. Gilliard 6'3", 252 out of Shreveport. 2nd and 7 for the Razorbacks. Straight drop. In the air. And Lunny actually comes down with it, I believe. Gilliard had the hand up. And Lunny ended up with the football.
Boy, Gilliard is 6'3". He's got huge arm spans. Now watch number 7 come from the outside. First, boom, little hands, little swim move, quick to the outside, reads the pass, and look at this. Great ups. But then Lunny makes a superior play here by finding the ball, locating it, making the catch, and coming down.
Yeah, that's a dangerous play on the offense.
I will say this is an outstanding move by Arkansas now. They have spread the field. They've gone to twins. Both sides are opened up with 4 wide receivers to spread that LSU defense thin all the way across the field.
Lucas and Cotton to the far side. Metters now in motion. And the blitz is on, and down goes Lunny. Alan Stansberry on the blitz and the sack.
Stansberry's 5th sack of the year. Just straight up the middle, blocking assignment. There's nobody home. They outnumbered them. That's the name of the game. Outnumber the offensive line. They took a chance, played man outside, brought the blitz, and it worked.
So back is wait for another punt, and it's a high one. Tennyson comes up to field it. at the 31-yard line. So a punt of 38 yards and no return, and another defensive stand by the LSU Tigers.
There was a time when we didn't have a worry in the world. Today, well, we seem to be making up for it. That's why you need Chevy Lumina. A car you can trust. A car so well engineered and affordable, you could have it paid off long before it needs its first tune-up. Chevy Lumina. Because someday you'll realize nobody's got enough money, and everybody's got enough worries.
College football teaches a lot of tough lessons. Some tougher than others. And even though my football days are over, the lessons are still being taught. Only now, I'm doing the teaching, thanks to Itachi's Promise of Tomorrow Scholarship Program, a program that awards $5,000 teaching scholarships to students like myself who are associated with college football. While giving lessons isn't easy, it couldn't be harder than receiving them.
Itachi and the CFA committed to fulfilling the promise of tomorrow.
At the University of Arkansas, championship performance puts you in the spotlight. Being part of a team, knowing that success takes drive and the will to reach new heights, going to great lengths to reach even the highest goals, expecting a solid return on an investment of time and energy. UA students are winners. Join the A#1 team at the University of Arkansas.
It's Action Monday on ABC with Jeff Fahey going undercover to bust some bad cops on an all-new episode of The Marshal. And then ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. 9-time All-Pro wide receiver Jerry Rice. The 49ers heading south to take on Marino and the Dolphins. Action Monday right here on ABC. 159 yards to 15. Wow. Kendall Cleveland now in at the tailback spot for LSU, and they blow it dead.
Boy, to this point, Arkansas just so uncertain of itself, not playing aggressively. Another mistake by LSU, but they haven't made many, and so far LSU has just been dominant. Give Gerry Dinardo a lot of credit. Not only is the game plan sound, but he has his guys ready to play. This team was blistered today in the paper here locally. One of the writers of the local paper just took LSU to task because Dinardo stopped practice on Wednesday because he didn't feel they were having a good practice and ready to play. And some writer took exception to that and said, how could they not be ready to play in one of the biggest games of the year, the biggest game? They're trying to clinch the first winning season since the 80s.
And predicted they wouldn't be ready to play. Either he was wrong or Gerry Dinardo's pep talk had a lot to do with the way they've come out. Cleveland with a carry, and he is wrapped up by Stephen Conley in the backfield. And Jamie Howard looking on. You know, you wonder about his baseball future now. The draft pick, of course, of the Atlanta Braves has played in their farm system and brings it in the low 90s from the mound.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think a lot is going to depend on the healing of this shoulder. They think right now that surgery, possibly a pin, is going to change the accuracy of his arm, and that's something that he's going to have to adjust to.
Well, you're going to have to make that decision, too, what he wants to do with it, and whether you take a chance on that. Tough to see. Going up top is Tyler. And
what a catch.
Down at the 31-yard line, it's a catch. Eddie Kennison with a catch. Tracy Cantaloupe was there as well, and they're still fighting over it. And when they both come down with it, it goes to the offense, and what a job by Eddie Kennison. A gain of 45.
That's one of the most athletic plays you're going to see this afternoon. Kennison 6'1", maybe a little bit more than that. He went high. Watch this. There's Cantaloupe, who's 5'10". Look at Kennison go over the top and flip the body, and he had it. Ty goes to the runner. Both had it.
Straight ahead on the right side across the 30 inside to the 28. Kendall Cleveland on the carry again. We saw the great catch earlier, Tim, by Cedric Wilson, reaching back the one-handed grab. But I'll tell you what, it doesn't get any better than this by Eddie Kennison.
No, because that's an interception. And then watch, Kennison now comes over the top. He has the ball. They're going to give it to the offensive player. By the time the back judge gets there, boom, he sees both guys have it. Kennison on his back with the ball. Catch.
Cleveland with big room along the right side. Down to the 20. You've got another first down. Anthony Hicks made the stop.
You know, Kendall Cleveland is out of Texas. He's a redshirt freshman. He came into this ball game. He had run for 500 yards, 7 touchdowns. Wasn't getting the playing time that he would really like because of Kevin Falk. But this guy's a former track star in high school in the 100 meters. He gained 155 yards in the spring game. Thought he had won the running back position there. Came in, of course, Falk's had a great year, over 900 yards, but Cleveland never quits. He just keeps coming back.
First down at the 20, and here's Falk along the left side, and maybe a gain of 1. Tripped up by Marcus Adair, the senior out of Memphis. A lot of action elsewhere in the world of college football today. Some big games already having taken place. Penn State with the win over Michigan. There's their ball hope. Of course, mentioned the Clemson-South Carolina game. Clemson with the win there, and Tennessee the win over Kentucky. I'll tell you what, it gets awfully exciting this time of year, doesn't it?
Oh, it really does. And of course, Danny Ford, the youngest coach to win a national championship. That's when he was at Clemson. He was 33 back in 1981. Now here just in his 3rd year at Arkansas, and he wins the SEC Western Division title.
And LSU calls timeout. They want to talk about it. They'll have 2nd and 10 at the 20 for Gerry Dinardo when we return.
This is a document in the digital office where you capture ideas and share them effortlessly. Whether they're on paper or on your screen, this is the space where Xerox works, giving you a simpler way to do good work.
$14-0. LSU has dominated this one. 4:33 left in the first half, and they have it 2nd and 10 at the 20-yard line. That young man, Herbert Tyler, has been sensational.
He really has, and while the other freshman, Falk, 5 carries, only 9 yards, it's been Cleveland who's been doing the damage with 15 carries. He's already over 64 yards and a touchdown.
Kevin Falk in there now. Great drop, under pressure. Out to LaFleur, the tight end. And run out of bounds at the 12-yard line. A flag back at the 25.
And it's going to be against LSU.
Going to bring it back.
You know, it's interesting to see LSU starting to go back to its big tight end, David LaFleur. He's got great size at 6'7", 279 pounds. I think he's the best tight end of the conference. He is all conference. Consensus all SEC.
Well, the illegal motion in the backfield in the offense. Be 5 yards. Repeat the 2nd down.
Hey, you talk about LaFleur, too, and he has so much attention from defenses, though, and only 10 catches coming into the game, and that's really the reason why. Don't forget, at the conclusion of today's game, we will choose a genuine Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game from each team, and Chevrolet has contributed almost $5.5 million to the scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. Coming up at the end of our game today. Kendall Cleveland now in for Kevin Falk, and there's movement. 3 of the Razorbacks jumped across, and we'll see if there was movement on the offensive line.
Well, even if they were in a neutral zone and caused that offensive movement, the defense this year will be tabbed with the penalty. They just have to decide who moved first. That's exactly what they're discussing, too.
Yep, and that's a new rule this year.
We have offside on the defense. Be 5 yards. Still 2nd down.
Defense was in the neutral zone and actually forced movement on that offensive line. Now here comes Arkansas. Boom, there's the movement. Right tackle jumps.
Yep, but that's after the defense was in the neutral zone. And that is the rule they put in before the start of this year. Look at the penalties and the one turnover by LSU. The fumble and a lot of room for Kendall Cleveland to the outside. To the goal line. Touchdown LSU. If you're a Razorback fan right now, you're in a state of shock. The number 2 defense in the SEC, number 1 against the rush, and the Tigers have had their way the entire afternoon. The floor with the extra point. Hooks it up and in, and can you believe it? 21-0 LSU.
The Lennon legacy. John left 2 songs behind. Now, the remaining Beatles come together with 2 all-new songs. The Beatles Anthology, coming Sunday, only on A-Beatles-C.
I'm Jimmy Smits. Join me as I host television's greatest performances. The greatest moments of Michael Jackson, Frank Sinatra, Whitney Houston, Madonna, Diana Ross, Steve Martin, and more. Television's greatest performances.
Thursday, here on ABC.
3:50 left in the first half, and how about the 3-touchdown lead by LSU?
How about the run in the game that Cleveland's playing? Watch Kendall Cleveland, the cutback, the vision. Now he gets his block, and watch this. He sees 74 Wells go right, he goes left, and then he just outruns him. Look at this high step into the end zone, his second touchdown of the day. And if I'm Danny Ford, you got to take your team to task. They never showed up. They aren't playing well.
16 rushes, 84 yards already for Kendall Cleveland, and 2 touchdowns. And Danny Ford looking for that 3:50 to tick off the clock to have a word with his Razorbacks at halftime. Nichols at his own 2. To the outside and wrapped up at the 27-yard line. And that's where the Razorbacks will start tomorrow at 1 Eastern. Steffi Graham meets Anke Huber in the finals of the Corel WTA Championships. And then at 4 Eastern, 3 Central, American champion Todd Eldridge and an elite international field of skating's best young stars get together at Sudafed Skate America International. That's all tomorrow on ABC Sports.
Terry, I think it is so important right now for Barry Lunny, the senior, to start taking charge of this ball game. He's got to put some life into this offense. The offense hadn't been in the field that long. They've got to get a good drive going, get back in this ball game.
Madre Hill looking for room. He's not going to find any. Maybe a gain of 2. James Gilliard out on the tackle. And don't forget, coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, John Saunders will have scores and highlights from all of today's action, and there's a lot of it, and most of it very important when you try to figure out the bowl picture.
You know, LSU has just bottled up Madre Hill today. He's got 5 carries and only 6 yards for the afternoon. This is a guy that averages 6 yards a carry and has 15 touchdowns.
Eubanks and Metters wide to the near side. And they both go in motion, and now Metters stops. Barry Lunny has to call a timeout. Somebody wasn't on the right page.
Yeah, Metters is upset, too. He thinks Eubanks didn't have the right call. He's letting him know about it. You know, I had a nice talk with J.J. Metters yesterday. The guy is only 5'6". He says sometimes it works to my disadvantage. That's if they come up and the big guys get their hands on me on the line. Other than that, he says I can outrun those guys and hide in the secondary.
Well, you can't argue with him either, huh? I mean, what he's done. Number 1 receiver in Arkansas history at 5'6". Here's the ACC action today. Carolina had to come from behind to beat Duke. Florida State won big. Virginia Tech with the win over Virginia, and that is huge.
That is huge. That's Virginia's 4th loss of the year. Big win for Virginia Tech, number 1 in the Big East Conference, of course. I think Maryland with 6 wins was counting on a bowl bid. They still may, but I think this loss to Florida State today, giving up 59 points, really hurts them.
Yeah, the way they got beat, too, as well. The number 1 team out of the ACC going to the Alliance, the number 2 to the Gator, and that's where, you know, a lot is up in the air at this point. Number 3 to the Peach, and number 4 possibly to the Car Quest. The against the Big East number 3. Remember, those are all picks, not necessarily standard.
Yeah, we're just speculating.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're just having some fun.
All this is speculation, folks, at this point. Who knows what is going to happen with the Bulls. But Virginia and Florida State on top. Virginia beat Florida State, of course, but in terms of the Bulls, it's overall record. And Clemson looking awfully good at this point because of the loss by Virginia today to Virginia Tech.
Yeah, you talk about Florida State. It's not only overall record, but also ranking.
Yes. Lunny on 2nd and 7, up in the air again and almost picked off. Gabe Northern, 6'3", 239, right here out of Baton Rouge, got his hand on it.
Boy, what a career he's had. He's probably the most animated player out there at Northern. He's got 7 sacks coming into this game. He had 11 last year. He's a consistent pass rush guy. You know, and watching the NFL, Gabe Northern, see, he now says, oh, I'm a pass rush guy. That's his specialty. Just watch him work 88, again, working strength against strength, and gives a nice little inside move here. Tucks underneath, and look at the timing to get the Lunny's arm.
So it's 3rd and 7 now at the 30. Straight drop. Lunny with time. Picked off at the 47-yard line. The dive for the end zone and knocked out of bounds at the 2. Pat Rogers on the pick and the return inside the 5. What a nightmare it has been for Danny Ford in Arkansas in the first half.
That interception happened for 2 reasons. Number 1, Lunny has the pressure the entire game. He felt it again there and threw in a hurry in a zone. They had him surrounded. Then Rogers, gosh, they say he's the best athlete among all the linebackers and probably the front 7. He makes the pick. That's his 2nd interception of the year, and that leads to this touchdown.
Cleveland to the end zone. No surprise there. You predicted it. Well, we said a moment ago that Danny Ford would like to get to the locker room most likely and chat with his team. He didn't want this to happen before he got there.
You know, Pat Rogers ought to get half of this. As a matter of fact, he thought he had the interception. He read, he broke on the ball, he made the pick. Now watch how close he comes to getting the touchdown.
LaFleur with the extra point. And, you know, if you'd have told me this, it was going to be 28-0. I said a better chance of the Beatles getting together than this happening. But you can't use that anymore, Tim Brandt. They're coming back together. 2:36 left in the first half. And my gosh, 28-0 LSU.
Boy, it's been a long time since the crowd's gotten behind this team like they are here today. Just listen to them. They're on their feet.
Pat Rogers resting after his interception, and look how close he comes to getting into the end zone with the long jump. Up. Didn't matter. Kendall Cleveland took it in from there. Nichols and Johnson's back deep once again for LSU. Look at what LSU has done here in the first half.
Talk about productivity. Touchdown, 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 touchdown. And the fumble you thought was controversial.
Ritchie with a shorter kick this time. His own 4 is Johnson with a seam. Across the 25 to the 27-yard line. And the Razorbacks will have 2:29 to try to do something with that. Now spend your Thanksgiving weekend with us here on ABC at 11 Eastern. Georgia and Georgia Tech, not only a rivalry, but Georgia needs it to get 6 wins. And then another rivalry. North Carolina taking on NC State, Purdue and Indiana, the rest of your lineup. And then at 2:30 Eastern, Oklahoma plays number 1 Nebraska in a national showdown. So check your local listings for the game in your area and call your cable operator for the games available on pay-per-view Thanksgiving weekend right here on ABC. A lot of football. Jerry Lunny 4 for 8 for 24 yards and an interception. They go to the ground though. A gain of about 3. Madre Hill on the carry. Northwestern with a 2-touchdown lead over Purdue. and still important for them in terms of the bowl picture. But they're still hoping that Ohio State loses again.
LSU holding a clinic defensively here. Of course, LSU is ranked near the top of the SEC all year. Number 3 in total defense. Number 2 in scoring defense.
Arkansas operating out of the eye now. Tyrone Henry, the fullback, leading Montre Hill, but not leading him anywhere. In the backfield again is Anthony McFarland. He's been there all afternoon long. This is a young guy who is really a pleasant surprise for the coaching staff. Only a freshman out of Winsboro, Louisiana. 6'1", 302 pounds.
Coaches say, well, he's made a few freshman mistakes, but for the most part, this guy has played well and played fairly consistent. He grades out high every week when they break down the tapes.
They put him in the backfield earlier in the game when they were down in the goal line. 3rd and 10 at the 27. Here comes the option to Hill. Trying to get outside. He won't get there. Great support from the defensive backs, Stelby Crawford and Denardi Walker.
You know, LSU is doing something a little bit different today. They're taking their safety Crawford and they're cheating him up almost like a linebacker to make an 8-man front. They're trying to shut down the run and force Lunny to throw, banking on the fact they're going to get enough pressure on Lunny anyway.
He's only had, what, 4 completions on the afternoon, so the gamble has worked to this point. Eddie Kennison back deep, awaiting Matt Waite's punt. Kennison at his own 32-yard line. Here comes the rush. Boy, a high kick. Kennison with a fair catch at the 35-yard line. And still 59 seconds left to go here in the first half. And let's send you back to New York to check in with John Saunders. John, what do you have?
Coming up next on the Prudential Halftime Report, we'll have full details of Ray Goff's agreement to leave Georgia. Also highlights of Tennessee struggling, plus number 2 and number 3 in action as well. That in a moment.
All right, John, and I think football fans who've been around, you know, you're sorry to see Ray Goff go because just about everybody he talked to really liked Ray Goff, and sorry it did not work out. Like Georgia, he's a Georgia man.
You know, the other thing about that, too, with Ray Goff is the fact that he had so many injuries this year. Of course, you can make all the excuses. They still look at the bottom line. They look at what the record is. But then coming back next year, he's got such a quality team coming back. It could be one of the best teams Georgia's had in a long time. So whoever comes into that situation is stepping into a great team, possibly a contender.
Kendall Cleveland and the Tigers have dominated this first half like not many thought they would. Here's Cleveland as they keep it on the ground up to the 38-yard line. And the clock continues to tick. Del Delco made the tackle on the last play of the first half. And nearly 80,000 stand up and cheer the LSU Tigers. It has been all LSU as they lead it 28-0 over Arkansas. Danny Ford going to the locker room to try and figure out a way to stop the Tigers.
CFA College Football on ABC Sports. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube. If it doesn't say Jiffy Lube, it just isn't Jiffy Lube. And Chevrolet, the cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. Genuine Chevrolet. Stay tuned for the Prudential Halftime Report after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
In racing, there's no margin for error. The crew follows the same procedures every time the car pulls into the pits. It's the same way.
After videos, Sunday on ABC.
Here's the buzz on this game. Cross-state rivals collide when the Georgia Bulldogs try to avoid the sting of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Thanksgiving Day on ABC's College Football.
Okay, this is big, really big. I mean, humongously big. It's the Buick Cashback Closeout. How much cash back? Try $1,500 to $2,000. See, your Buick dealers need to move out all their 95s, so you get $2,000 cash back on Buick Park Avenues and Ultras, or $1,500 cash back on Buick LeSabre, Roadmaster, Regal, Skylark, and Century. Now, wouldn't you really rather have a Buick? I thought so. Well, you better hustle, because Buick's Cashback Closeout ends soon, like really soon. I'm not kidding. You got to step on it. Get it here.
Cleo Fields, the liberal's liberal. Mike Foster, the conservative, on crime. Fields voted against the death penalty for drug kingpins. Foster supports the death penalty for drug kingpins. Fields voted to let criminals go free before they serve their time. Foster, do the crime, serve the time. Fields voted to let criminals go free on minor technicalities. Foster opposes letting criminals go free. Fields supports endless appeals for violent criminals. Foster opposes them. On crime, we simply can't afford to cut them loose, Cleo.
Who will be our next governor? Find out tonight at 8 o'clock right here on Channel 2.
The Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the Prudential. When you face the most important financial decisions of your life, turn to the Prudential. Peace of mind, it comes with every piece of the rock. From our New York studios, your host, John Saunders.
LSU with a surprising 28-0 lead over Arkansas. The second half is still to come. But there were some other surprises in the SEC. Tennessee ranked in the top 5 and looking like they were going to roll their way into the Citrus Bowl, facing Kentucky. Billy Jack Haskins, this is one of the great runs of the season. Bottled up about 3 times and still breaks it loose. 47 yards for the touchdown run. Kentucky led 31-27, but Peyton Manning, you got this guy, you got a chance. 14 yards to Greg Kyler. And Tennessee goes on, holds on for the 34-31 win. Mo Williams, 30 carries, 151 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the losing effort. Peyton Manning, here's what he did. 23 of 41 for 272 yards. You're looking at there at another highlight we'll show you a bit later, but here's Peyton Manning. 23 of 41, 272 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He also ran for a touchdown. So Bill Curry at Kentucky nearly pulls off the victory and perhaps saves his job. Another guy who did not save his job, Ray Goff. He is out as the head coach at Georgia. He came to an agreement with A.D. Vince Dooley today, and even Dooley admits at least this year was not Goff's fault.
He had the misfortune of sustaining injuries both in quantity and in quality. We will never really know how the season might have turned out.
If I'm going to get fired, men, or I'm going to resign, excuse me, I'd just soon go out with this group of seniors as any group I've ever been associated with. There's never been a group.
Ray Goff will continue to coach next week against Georgia Tech. You'll see that one right here on ABC, 11 o'clock on Thanksgiving Thursday. Let's continue now. Northwestern trying to stay unbeaten in the Big Ten and facing Purdue today. Rick Trevsker is picked off by Chris Martin, who returns this ball 76 yards. Look at the speed. Just takes off. No one's even going to touch him. Into the end zone for the touchdown, 7-0. And then Steve Schnurr, they said they would open up the offense this week. Coach Gary Barnett did, and he has done just that. Across the middle, this one winds up 72 yards to Dwayne Bates. 14-0. Northwestern. This has been an unbelievable year. Chris Martin, as I told you, the 76-yard interception return set it up, and right now 14-0 is the score. Colorado and Kansas State. John Hessler at quarterback, 36 yards, hooking up with Herschel Troutman. Colorado would take a 7-3 lead. Kansas State quarterback Matt Miller's had a pretty good season, but he fumbles inside the 5-yard line. Colorado recovers the football, and right now the Buffs lead it. 7-3 is the score there. We'll keep you up to date. TCU beaten by Texas. 27-19 was the final there. Wayne McGarity had a 1-yard touchdown run. UCLA and USC on a little reverse here. Danny Farmer, 35 yards to Kevin Jordan. UCLA would take a 21-0 lead. USC's just gotten on the board, 21-7 the score there. Kansas against Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State coming off last week's surprising victory over Oklahoma and playing Kansas State today. 16-7. Kansas, rather, has the lead there. Middle Tennessee State against Texas A&M. Corey Pullig has a touchdown pass, and Leland McElroy has 2 touchdown runs. Washington State facing Washington. Ryan Leaf, 2 touchdown runs. West Virginia and Miami. Miami back into the top 25, but trailing West Virginia 3-0. Cal and Stanford. Greg Camella, a 3-yard touchdown run. Stanford leads 10-3 in that game. Baylor and Rice. Gerard Douglas, 28-yard touchdown run, a 6-yard touchdown run. He had 197 yards on the ground. Texas Tech and SMU. Byron Hanspar, 2 touchdown runs and 3 touchdown receptions. Utah and BYU. Right now, 13-3, Utah has the lead there. The tennis, we want to bring you WTA Tour Championship. The final will be Steffi Graf against Anka Huber. That one you can see tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Time right here on ABC. Let's continue with some more scores as we listen to the LSU band and take a look at some more scores from around the nation, including Iowa State trailing Missouri, but Troy Davis is closing in on 2,000 yards.
Financial concerns, medical problems, anxiety about the future, the loss of a loved one, the pressures we all face, the emotions we all experience. 50 million Americans, 1 out of every 5 of us, have found they can cope better, feel more secure, actually improve their lives by turning for help to one particular company. A company whose sole purpose has always been to provide its customers with products and services that bring them to a different state of mind. Peace of mind. Security. Protection. Preparation. Optimism. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock.
I think a big part of what makes going to LSU so different is the uniqueness of Louisiana. People come to LSU from all over the world, and the atmosphere is a lot of it. The culture, traditions, the history, the whole Louisiana experience is right here. There's a Cajun word, lagniappe, that means something extra, and I think that really describes LSU.
LSU, as unique as Louisiana.
Welcome back to the Prudential Halftime Report. Your second half is still to come, but right now, scores and highlights beginning with number 2, Ohio State, trying to remain unbeaten, headed towards perhaps the Rose Bowl. Bobby Hoying, 12 yards to Terry Glenn here. Glenn appears healthy now after the shoulder injury a couple of weeks ago. Bobby Hoying was actually knocked out of this game with a concussion. He stayed on the sidelines, apparently okay, but did not return. Most points ever in a season for Ohio State, 438. Eddie George, another great day. 26 carries, 130 yards, although that's 184 less than he had last week. He also had 2 touchdowns. Vanderbilt against Florida. Elijah Williams, 70 yards as he takes the ball and busts up the middle. One move there, one hand laid on him, and then it's to the end zone. 24-0. Florida with the lead over Vanderbilt. They go on to the 38-7 victory. Chris Doering, 11 catches, 152 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Danny Werfel also had a great day, 17 of 35, 299 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Maryland against Florida State. Danny Cannell, 54 yards, hooking up with Andre Cooper, who's wide open. Florida State leads at that point, 38-10. Warwick Dunn, a couple of touchdown runs, 9 yards on this one, 45-17. The final, 59-17. Danny Cannell, 24 of 34, 346 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he also breaks the ACC touchdown record now at 56. Danny Cannell owns that touchdown record. In the Big Ten, Michigan and Penn State playing to see who would go to the higher bowl drawn out of the Big Ten. In this one, it was back and forth. Penn State finally pulling it out. Mercury Hayes getting pelted by snowballs, and Joe Paterno is going after the fence saying, leave the snow in the stands where it belongs. Tim Biakabatuka, he finds his way through a hole. 19 yards for the touchdown. Michigan within 3. But then on the fake field goal, Joe Nastasi, the holder, goes around, and everyone is fooled for the touchdown. 9 yards in this one. 27-17 is the final. Mike Pitts, 164 yards receiving for Penn State. Biakabatuka did have 139 yards and 26 carries, but Penn State gets the victory. Virginia Tech and Virginia, very important game for both these teams. Jim Druckenmiller, 32 yards to Jermaine Holmes. And Virginia Tech takes the lead 30-29 after trailing most of the game. Then Mike Rowe is picked off on the final drive by Antonio Banks. In fact, the final play of the game, 59-yard return for the touchdown, sealing the victory. 36-29 is the final. Virginia Tech now with 9 consecutive wins after an 0-2 start. Frank Beamer's team has beaten Miami. They've beaten Syracuse, but they're not assured of going to the Alliance, although Beamer says, hey, you got to take us.
Well, I would think those bowl people want an exciting football team that brings a lot of people with them. We got some great fans here, I'm going to tell you. I think, to me, it doesn't make sense not to take us. I would think they'd want us.
They have clinched a tie for the Big East title. Miami could get up there and tie them. Now, take a look at what the difference means. If you're in that bowl alliance, the payout about $8 million. Part of that has to be split with the conference, but you're still going to make much more than you will in the other bowls. In the ACC, same situation for Virginia. They've clinched a tie. They've beaten Florida State, but if Florida State moves up and ties them, likely Florida State and the Seminoles would go. Boston College against Syracuse. Donovan McNabb, he's been an outstanding player this year. 20-yard screen pass to Rob Conrad. The freshman takes it the rest of the way, 17-0. Conrad had 2 touchdown runs as well. Syracuse blows out Boston College. 58-29 is the final. McNabb, 3 touchdown passes, 13 of 17, 174 yards. Clemson and South Carolina. Milan Green, 57 yards to Antoine Wyatt, although Wyatt does most of the work. What a terrific run here. He was sealed at the sidelines, and then the great foot speed to take it the rest of the way and tie the game at 17 apiece, and then it was all Clemson after that. 38-17 was the final. Raymond Priester had a touchdown run. Iowa over Wisconsin. 33-20 is the final there. Cedric Shaw had 2 touchdown runs. And we will continue with more of the Prudential Halftime Report in just a moment. Stick around.
It's pretty obvious. We have to move.
So how do we find out how much our house is worth?
The Rock is the answer.
We think we have enough for a down payment.
Now we need an agent to show us what we can afford.
The Rock is the answer.
We've been talking about this transfer for 6 months.
Yeah, now they want me yesterday.
So where do we find someone who knows how to get this house sold fast?
The Rock is the answer. The Prudential Real Estate Affiliates.
A new set of academic standards for freshmen is now in effect. To practice, play, and receive an athletic scholarship, freshmen will need a minimum grade point average in at least 13 core courses in high school and a corresponding minimum score on the ACT or SAT. Ask your coach or guidance counselor about these new requirements. Prepare yourself now. It's never too early to hit the books.
This message provided by the NCAA.
The Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the Prudential. When you face the most important financial decisions of your life, turn to the Prudential. Peace of mind, it comes with every piece of the rock.
Back to your second half in just a moment, but first a reminder, a very big weekend of college football here on ABC Sports next week, beginning Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, Georgia and Georgia Tech. It could be Ray Goff's final game as the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, but both of these teams are fighting and trying to get into a bowl game. Then on Friday, regional action at 11 o'clock Eastern time, and note the game at the bottom, 3 o'clock Pacific, Arizona and Arizona State. Then the big one at 2:30 Eastern time. Number 1 Nebraska trying to make it 2 years in a row as the national champions. They will take on arch rival Oklahoma. And then on Saturday, regional coverage at noon. Number 2 Ohio State against Michigan or Florida State against Florida. Both Florida State and Florida think they have a chance to win the national championship. And how about the Ohio State Buckeyes? Michigan trying to derail them as they complete an undefeated season and try and head to the Rose Bowl. It's all coming up next week. Time now to announce the recipients of the Burger King Scholar Athlete of the Week. Each week, Burger King will donate $25,000 to the General Scholarship Fund in each winner's college or university. This week's winners are in Division 1A, Justin Konzimis from the University of Minnesota. He has a 3.66 GPA in Business Management and Marketing. Division 1AA winner is Haishima Northern from Southern University. Division 2, Jeff Turnage from IUP. And Division 3, Nathan Hutchings from Eureka College. Congratulations to all these fine student athletes. Remember, stop by your local Burger King restaurant for details on the College Football Scholarship Fund.
Making ideas a reality. It's how you ended up with your own business in the first place. And it's why Hewlett-Packard has introduced the fast, reliable, affordable HP LaserJet 5L. And the colorful HP DeskJet 850 series with a real-life imaging system. Dependable, professional Hewlett-Packard printers. Printers that work almost as hard as you do. HP printers. Just what you had in mind.
Baker comes up with incredible new pretzel. Doesn't have any customers. Doesn't know how to reach them. Here's that post office has some very smart solutions. Calls for business kit. Baker finds ad mail can target pretzel lovers. Doesn't cost much. Gets his message across. Baker gets orders. Sends them parcel post. Customers are impressed. Baker gets more orders. Pretzels are a hit. Baker makes millions. Now he's the one getting baked. For information, call 1-800-USPS.
All right, gentlemen. Tomorrow, your butts are mine. Lights up.
Miz, I'm hungry. Russell Athletic Wear is made to handle the toughest situations on and off the field. Hot dog, crisp fries, hamburgers, tacos grande, pizza. Coach, going somewhere, ladies.
Hard work, dedication, commitment.
Get Russell Athletic. Get tough.
Get up there, large butt. Go, go.
Visa salutes American Olympic champions. In 1976, speed skater Sheila Young stunned the world by winning 3 Olympic medals, including a gold.
Sheila Young.
He's gonna do it. He did it.
Sheila Young.
In continued support of amateur athletics, Visa today is proud to donate another $1,000 to the U.S. Olympic team to support future Olympic hopefuls in their quest for the gold.
Recently, the Broncos and 49ers showcased their talents in Tokyo.
Love is a many splendid thing.
At Zone West Karaoke.
By your man. Blame it on the bossa nova. The dance of love.
Where the players brought no ability to carry a tune, but did bring their Visa card.
Was it the moon?
Because Zone West can accept just about anything except American Express.
Everybody sing. It's the April rose that only...
What a first half it was for the LSU Tigers. They lead it 28-0. Terry Gannon, Tim Brandt, and Lewis Johnson down in the field, who had a chance to talk with Tiger head coach Gerry Dinardo at the end of the first half.
Could you have ever imagined a first half like this?
Well, Lewis, you always get ready for a tight game, and I'm not sure it won't be a tight game in the second half. We played well the first half. We're 2 quarters away from going to a bowl game and having a winning season. Now, we can't lose sight of that at halftime.
Well, right. That's the thing I'm concerned about. How do you keep the kids from getting the ballooned heads? What do you tell them when you go in the locker room to get them ready for this second half?
I tell them the season comes down to 2 quarters, and my guess is they'll play well.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
My guess is that they'll at least listen. We'll see what happens on the field. But Gerry Dinardo, his career record, successful at Vandy, of course, and trying to take the Tigers to a bowl game in his first year here at LSU. And back deep for Arkansas, Corey Nichols, 5 yards deep. He goes to one knee, and they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Tim, a look at the halftime stats, the first half stats. They are awfully telling.
They are really telling. Number one, look at the goose egg in the score. Then look how balanced in the right-hand column running and passing LSU has been. And look at the rushing yards for Arkansas. -2. Then the turnovers. Well, Arkansas did have a turnover, but got no points out of it. Then, if you look at the other thing, Rodgers intercepted a pass for LSU off of Lunny. He took it down. They scored the very next play. So that is telling. No punts. LSU has not had to punt today.
And nothing going on offense at all for Arkansas. First and 10 at the 20. Lunny to throw. Going up the far sideline for Anthony Lucas, and overthrows. It's out of bounds, and it'll be second and 10. Greg Hill, a strong safety on the coverage. And look at what Arkansas did in the first half. Except for the first drive, they were 3 and out, and then the interception. I mean, that's amazing.
Part of that is the pressure that this defense has been putting on Lunny all afternoon. They've sacked him twice. He's had to hurry 4 other times. This is something that the number 3 defense in the SEC has been doing all afternoon. They've been dominating.
And on the defense for Arkansas has to be in a state of shock, too. Only 4 times this year have they given up more than 28 points. There were 28 in the first half here. Second and 10, Madre Hill trying to get something going on the ground, and he does. Across the 30 to the 32-yard line. Melby Crawford, the strong safety, made the stop there.
That's Madre Hill's longest run of the game.
Crawford made the tackle. First down, Arkansas.
Came into the game with most yards of anyone in terms of a season in Arkansas history.
Oh, he's had a fine year, over 1,300 yards. He has that excellent speed, and he's a slasher. But the thing is, they have contained him. They've been after him. They're not letting him get going.
Not only Madre Hill's longest gain of the day, it's Arkansas's longest play from scrimmage of the day. I mean, the LSU defense has just wrapped him up. Hill straight ahead. Up to the 35, that's it. James Gilliard on the tackle.
You know, the other thing about Madre Hill, we talk about the yards that he's gotten this season. We talk about the great year he's had. He has not put the ball on the ground yet this year. How important is that? That is huge.
And for a young player, too, only a sophomore in high school, gained over 6,000 yards at 68 touchdowns in his career.
Keep in mind, he had that big game against LSU last year. 2 touchdowns, including the big 100-yard kickoff return.
Play action, roll. Under pressure, Gabe Northern has him wrapped up at the 21-yard line. Lunny goes down again.
Sack number 9 for Northern on the year.
And a loss of 13. Arkansas -2 yards rushing the first half, and they're going backward again.
Flag way up near midfield at the 45.
At the 45 of LSU. By the reaction of the LSU players, it is not good for the Tigers.
We have holding on the defense. Be a 10-yard penalty. That's enough yardage for first down.
And Gerry Dinardo trying to get an answer here. Gerry's about 10 yards on her field at one point. So moves the ball up
10 yards.
near the 45-yard line.
You know that guy right there, Gerry Dinardo, with a win today would become only the 4th coach in school history to take over a loser and turn it into a winning season in his first year at LSU.
First and 10 at the 45. Metters in motion. Hill the carry. Falls ahead for a gain of close to 3. Pat Rogers, who had the interception in the first half. Tackle. Well, the early season success for the LSU Tigers and all of the attention that they received and Gerry Dinardo received. And folks around Baton Rouge feel like he has started to turn around. You know, and a big part of that was Kevin Falk, landing him, securing him.
People start turnarounds with defense, and he's done that. Do you realize this defense has given up just 3 touchdowns in the last 12 quarters?
Number 3 overall in the SEC. Now, Lunny changes the play at the line of scrimmage. Got to hurry. 4 receivers in. Over the middle and dropped by Lucas, and he was hot. Clarence Lenton was there and timed it perfectly.
You know, I'm not sure he was actually trying to pop Lucas. I think he was going for the interception. They were in man coverage. It had man free, and I want you to watch Lenton. Lenton reads it, playing free. Here he comes now for the pick. They just hit going after the ball at the same time.
Lunny under pressure again. Anthony McFarland in the backfield. LSU's been perfect all day, but look at Arkansas. Only 1 out of 6 third down conversion. Metters in motion. He's got it in LSU territory, and he has a first down at the 44-yard line. Dinardo Walker knocked him out of bounds, but not before he got to the 44 that moved the chain.
That's one of the most incredible things I've seen in college football this year. J.J. Metters, 5'6". He's only 150 pounds playing major college football. Watch number 1. Now, this is what he told me yesterday. If he gets off the line of scrimmage, he gets even with a defensive back. He knows he can outrun him, especially to the outside, and he did there. Good pattern. They ran the guys deep, cleared it out underneath, and he just came under into the flat.
Ruston, Louisiana,
5'6".
in his home state. You know, a Muggsy Bogues thing. I mean, it is. It's amazing. To Lucas. Is he out of bounds yet? Incomplete. He was a step out of bounds at about the 13. He had a step on the defender. Went was there along with Torrey James.
You know, Lucas is tall, fast, and dangerous himself. Gives a little stutter step. Now watch this. He knows where he's going. Here comes the safety over to help out Linton. But the ball, Lunny just led him out of bounds. Lucas had no shot at it. See, he's out of bounds right even before the ball even gets close to him.
Lucas 6'3" and 187 pounds. Good looking freshman.
Heavily recruited too.
Yep. 2nd and 10 now. And Madre Hill back to the line of scrimmage. Chuck Wiley on the stop. And I'll tell you what, his defensive line of LSU has really played a great ball game to this point. Wiley, Gilliard, Northern, McFarland has had big tackles in the backfield.
They have played well. They've set the tempo, but you need big guys to come up with big plays like that freshman Lucas again. You know, here's a guy, you talked about him being a freshman. He committed to one school, signed with another, and then went to Arkansas. He was heavily recruited, just couldn't make up his mind, but he loves it at Arkansas.
Good basketball player in high school as well. State championship. 20 is going down again. At the 47-yard line, Gabe Northern.
Sack number 3 for Northern today. He now has 10 on the year. He had 11 last year. He's trying to beat that. Boy, you know, it's hard to stop a guy when he gets excited. Coming from the outside, they try to go. Pressure on the edge. Here they come. Then Lunny tries to get away from pressure on the right side and runs right into Northern on the left.
And there were receivers open, but no time for Lunny to find them. Matt Waite in for another punt. And Tennyson at his own 15 with the fair catch. So the defense holds once again for the Tigers. And in the opening drive of the second half, they take over at the 15.
All you want to do is fall into a nice, comfortable easy chair in a quiet place. Of course, sooner or later, you'll have to go home.
In the middle of my workday, I don't do power lunches. I do power lifts. And when you work out this hard, better use a deodorant that works hard too. That's why I use Speed Stick. It gives me 110% protection that lasts all day. And fortunately, all night. Because while I may not have time for lunches, I always manage to find some time for dinner.
Speed Stick, like you, it never quits. And try new Speed Stick Clear for clear protection that never quits.
5 minutes. The Niners are in a battle to get back to the top. But Dan Marino and the Dolphins want to make their big splash. They meet on ABC's Monday Night Football.
Here's how things stand in the SEC right now. Arkansas, of course, at 6-1, but they're down 28-0. LSU looking to move up. Of course, Auburn taking on Alabama in that classic showdown, starting in just a few minutes, I guess.
Of course, everybody right now thinking about what's going to take place with the bowls. And LSU, of course, on that bubble. They have to get this win today to even be eligible and qualify for that. If they win, I think they're going to the Independence Bowl.
Kendall Cleveland on the carry away from one tackler, but wrapped up and loses a couple. Gino Bell was there with the stop. Yeah, 6 wins, the magic number, of course, to be eligible for a bowl. I think you're right about your assessment in terms of LSU. Arkansas, on the other hand, felt that they needed a win today to get into a New Year's Day bowl if indeed they lose to Florida in the SEC Championship. If they win that game on December 2nd, then, of course, they're in the Alliance, and that's all taken care of. It has been a tough afternoon for Danny Ford's club. Kendall Cleveland putting the best of the entire Arkansas team right now, and there's That man again, Cedric Wilson with the catch at the 23.
And there's that guy again, Tyler, the freshman. Herbert Tyler, when we talked about him with the coaches yesterday, they said, well, the guy can run. You know, he's not doing anything great. This guy's got a rifle for an arm, and he's putting the ball right there. He's anticipating breaks by the receivers. He's throwing it before they actually cut. He reminds me a little bit. This could make you laugh, but he reminds me a little bit with his escapability of Doug Flutie.
You're right. It does make me laugh. No, I'm only kidding. No, he does remind you. A guy who ran a lot in high school and runs the option here, and here he is on the option. Not going anywhere, and he loses the football again, and Arkansas has it. The second fumble of the afternoon by Herbert Tyler. And Arkansas now with great field position after the turnover.
Marcus Adair comes up with it. Nunnerly with the hit to knock it loose. Never fails, does it? We talk about a guy and how well he's playing, and all of a sudden, boom, he makes a mistake. Take a look at this, and here comes Nunnerly, the free safety, number 27. He gets a pretty good pop. Then the backside by Bell, the ball's loose, and then here comes Adair to get on top of it. Well, you run that option. You don't want to hesitate and wait too long. You either want to cut up, tuck it away, or pitch it.
9:38 left in the third quarter, and if Arkansas is going to make the move, they're going to have to start right now.
They score here. Watch how it changes the momentum of this game.
Madre Hill, the lone setback. The option with Lunny. Keeps it. Flags are down, and he gets across the 20 to the 19 and wrestled down there.
You know what they're going to do? They're going to call holding on this play against Arkansas. Looked like Michael Henry, 67, got out there and just kind of locked on things. Of course, he was going against Gabe Northern, who's quick, so he locked him up and held him, and they got caught.
Good pursuit by the LSU defense. Andy Ford wants to know who did it.
Michael Henry's hoping he doesn't tell.
They're holding on the offense. Be 10 yards from the holding violation. Repeat the first down.
See 67, he's working on Northern. There goes his left arm, there goes his right arm, and there's the takedown. Holding.
Good tackle.
Now Michael Henry's a freshman, and he's working against Northern, who's having a great game and is a senior.
So they send him back to the 33. It will be 1st and 22 for Arkansas. 3 receivers to the near side. Lunny to Hill. May have gained 1. Chuck Wiley was there first. They'll bring up 2nd and long again. They spread out the receivers and give it to Hill.
Watch 55. Wiley right there. All right, first of all, he engages, then he releases, gets off the blocker and makes the tackle. You cannot play it much better than that. He's just a sophomore. They say he's the most consistent guy on the defensive line, which is a great tribute to a young sophomore. He's got 7 sacks on the year himself. That was one heck of a play.
Again, 3 receivers to the near side, and Hill in the backfield, but plenty to throw. Under pressure again, and he throws it away.
I'd throw a flag.
No one
That's
there.
Intentional grounding.
And they do. Chuck Wiley was there in a hurry, and there was no Arkansas receiver anywhere near that football.
And look who it is, 55, Chuck Wiley again. He's a local guy right here in Baton Rouge, playing in front of the home folks. Boy, they haven't come close to blocking him in the last 3 plays.
And they're going to pick up the flag now, Tim.
You know what? They're picking that flag up, I think, because Danny Ford lobbied. He said there was a receiver in the area, but there wasn't.
Well, unfortunately for Gerry Dinardo, it happened on Danny Ford's sideline.
Now, you know what? I'm going to tell you, I am surprised right now that Arkansas is not going to the quick release, the 3-step drop things. LSU is loading up. They're going to an 8-man front. They're playing man out on the corners. They've got 1 man free. He's getting pressured every play. Just go to the 3-step and throw.
They've had 3 sacks, but you're right. They've pressured him on almost every play. Lunny to the air for Eubanks. Good coverage in the end zone and knocked away.
Great coverage.
Torrey James was there step for step.
Torrey James, the best cover guy, most experienced in the secondary. He also is a high school state sprint champion. But this is not only sprinting here, this is positioning. Watch him now. He's going to take the receiver and pin him against the sideline. That's Eubanks. He's using that sideline almost like another defender, playing him inside out and then just knocking it away.
And Tim doing it without the use of the hands, too.
That is great position.
Body. Yep. 4th and 20. Ball on the 31-yard line, and Arkansas going to go for it. They don't have a whole lot of choice. Lunny under pressure now and throw. And bobbled on the far sideline, incomplete. Lucas had it and couldn't hold on.
Do you believe it? Great play by Lunny to get loose, buy time, and found a receiver, Lucas, who was open, and Lucas took his eye off of it and lost concentration.
James Gilliard was in on Barry Lunny, and he sidestepped him. I'm not sure how he got out of it. But another break for the Tigers, and they take over.
Any sign of them yet?
Nope.
Execute. Let's move.
Where are they?
Well, I'm sure they're on their way.
Don't worry. They'll make it.
They're coming!
I see them! They're here!
Toy Story toys have arrived at Burger King with the stars from the magical Disney movie. Your kids can collect all 6 high-quality toys, one with every great-tasting $1.99 Kids Club meal, only at Burger King.
Yeah, I knew you guys would make it.
The $1.99 Kids Club meal at Burger King.
Every day, we all find a way. A promise made, a promise kept. Giving it our best.
America's most complete source of auto parts, a national warranty program, and customer service only Napa can give. No wonder more people trust Napa to keep their vehicles running.
We keep America running. We keep America running.
I am easily satisfied with the very best.
We took a poll of the Arkansas coaches, and it's no surprise that they came up with this as their play of the year. Barry Lunny with a 3-yard pass to J.J. Metters. Did he catch it? Did he get it on the skip? No, he caught it. The 1-point victory over Alabama. And really, you point to that game as the defining moment in their season to this point, Tim.
Yeah, most successful season since entering the SEC, most wins since '89. And every time I look at that, I'm still not sure.
He caught the pass.
I'm still not sure J.J. got it.
He got the hands underneath it.
The nose of that ball, I think, hit the ground before his hands did. And moot point now. Great catch by J.J.
I'll give you that one if you give me the fumble earlier. And this one's picked off. Vincent Bradford, and brings it back to the 32-yard line. A moment ago, we said that Arkansas needed to do it on that series if they were going to turn this thing around. Well, they get it right back.
Well, they squandered that last opportunity.
Absolutely. And 2 fumbles, and now the interception by the freshman, Tim.
Got the fumble and the interception here, so the last 2 plays he's turned the ball over. That's a good read right there. Almost a gift, though. That ball should not have been thrown.
Second interception on the year for Bradford.
And that's the freshman mistake.
So Arkansas takes over at the 31. They had it first and 10 at the 21 a moment ago, and they lost 10 yards. Third turnover in the afternoon, and Tyler's been involved in that. 3 receivers to the near side, and they flood the zone. Over the middle, complete to Metters, who run out of bounds at the 17. So J.J. Metters on the catch and a first down. Robert Desitel on the coverage.
What an unusual formation. That was pretty neat, though. They sent trips out to one side, to the right. Look at this. Lined them up like the I formation. These are the receivers. Then the front 2 go deep, and then watch. Metters will sink underneath and then go with Lunny. Now Lunny's starting to scramble to the left. Metters goes with him. That's the experience of Metters, and he makes the catch, and they move the chains.
Third catch of the afternoon for Metters, and I said Desitel was covering him. I'm not sure you really covered J.J. Metters. With his speed, he just tried to stay somewhere near him. Numbers have not been great for Barry Lunny. Madre Hill fighting his way maybe to the 17. Alan Stansberry, the first man from LSU to get him. Well, tonight at a special time, 8, 7 Central, Joan Collins, George Hearn, and Ashley Johnson star in the world premiere of Annie, a Royal Adventure on Saturday night at the movies. Then Brett Butler hosts with Jeff Foxworthy, Shania Twain, Chicago, Paula Poundstone, and more. That's the all-new gala for the president. Little Orphan Annie and a big news special tonight here on ABC. Madre Hill with 14 carries for 31 yards. Lunny with play action. To Metter and broken up. Torrey James again with a great timing. And Tim, maybe one of the few instances where you see where the 5'6" height of Metters hurts him.
You know, this ball was thrown late because Metters is open here. Now, Metters never does see the DB coming up. James, he thinks he's got the catch. Look, here comes James, up and over. Almost jumped over top of 5'6".
You know, you're exactly right, because he never leaped to make the catch. I mean, he never saw Torrey James.
No, he really didn't, but that's Lunny's fault. Lenny released it late after Metters was then covered. Huge play right here for Arkansas. They squander this opportunity. You can almost kiss it goodbye.
Complete the Eubanks, short of the first down, trying to fight his way, and now the ball is loose. And LSU comes up with it.
Boy, Danny Ford is frustrated. Another opportunity, and it slips away from him.
And that kind of an afternoon for the Razorbacks, even after a completion.
Well, number one, Eubanks didn't get to the chains. He didn't get to where he had to get for the first down, but you can be sure they were going to go for it anyway. But then, trying to get the extra effort and that extra yard back, he got stripped.
And guess who forced the fumble? Torrey James. He's had 3 big plays in the last 2 series. And Danny along the sideline. Well, you have to wonder about this one. 28-0. Evan Falk, the freshman, up to the 15, maybe a little bit across the 15. Gino Bell on the stop there.
Well, there's still plenty of time, but I think Danny right now is just frustrated because they've had 2 opportunities here that they squandered both, and that door's slowly closing. He knows if they keep missing those opportunities, it's over.
Well, you know, you have a team that's the number 2 defense overall in the SEC, number 1 against the run. They forced turnovers this year. They have a great ratio, plus 12 in the turnover ratio coming into this game. You've got a freshman quarterback for LSU. It might be 28-0, but you're right. I think that's what's so frustrating. A lot of factors in your favor in terms of being able to possibly make a comeback.
Look at this.
Take advantage, and the ball on the ground again, but whistle blew. Falk was down before it came out.
Somebody has to settle Falk down. He's turned it over here the last 2 possessions. Here he puts the ball back on the ground.
Ball was loose, and maybe a sign of being a youngster that the quarterback, Herbert Tyler, put the ball on the ground and throwing the interception, and that's youth. I mean, that's what you live with if you're a coach with young kids. And now Kendall Cleveland comes into the game for Kevin Falk.
Tyler with 2, Falk with 1 in the last 3 possessions. And what I was trying to say is you've got a couple of freshmen there that you've got to really settle down here.
Yep. Tyler to throw out of the shotgun, going up top for Wilson, and kicked off at the 45-yard line. What a catch. Spencer Brown with the interception on the dive.
That's 3 straight possessions that Tyler, the freshman, now has turned the ball over. And Falk, the freshman, almost turned it over the play before.
And Tyler was hit hard as he released the ball. So Arkansas ball once again.
With the Vortec engine in a Chevy S-Series, you can go around the world 4 times before you have to stop for a tune-up. Have a nice trip. Chevy trucks, like a rock.
There's no place on this team for Deion Sanders.
They're gonna be all over you like hot pants on a cheerleader. You ready? I was born ready, partner. approve of that do-rag or fancy footwear, but you're A-okay with me.
Thanks, Dad.
Can't be champagne. I like it.
Sparkling, delicious. No champagne tastes like Valedore.
Frankly, I think it tastes better than champagne.
One sip of Valedore, one sip says it all.
You build a razor with a precision groove to help the Norelco lift and cut system shave closer than ever before. And what do you get? The Norelco razor, our closest shave ever.
Arkansas, Spencer Brown with the interception, or is it? They give it to Arkansas, but watch this. Spencer Brown lays out. There's the ball. Now watch it. Comes loose. Boom. He doesn't have it. The ball's on the ground. Then he gets it back and rolls over on it. Still, they call it the turnover in Arkansas now with his third straight turnover defensively. I mean, the defense has forced 3 in a row, and the offense hadn't been able to capitalize.
And that one doesn't kill you if you're LSU. It's like a punt. It was a 40-yard play. So it's just not a positive thing to open up this second half. They haven't moved the ball either. Along with Arkansas, the defense has been great, though, for the Tigers. Eubanks with the catch inside the 40 at the 38-yard line.
Best throw of the day.
Anthony Eubanks on the catch. Well, CFA College Football on ABC Sports brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And Tagamet HB, the most prescribed medication of its kind, is now for heartburn. 5:07 left in the third. Madre Hill gets the call, and it gets down to the 36-yard line. James Gilliard making the stop along with Anthony McFarland.
And McFarland.
What a gorgeous afternoon it is here in Baton Rouge. Temperatures in the 70s. And saw some of the highlights from some of the game. Penn State, snow on the ground, throwing snowballs. Not here, folks.
Rutgers with a 3-point win today. We'll see Rutgers next Friday against Boston College.
2nd and 8. Metters in motion to the near side. Here's Lunny. Going for Metters. And can't haul it in. Bernard Walker came over on the coverage. That'll bring up 3rd down and 8.
You know, Lunny threw a 6-1 pass to a 5'6 receiver. JJ couldn't get up. Boy, I like the way he plays, though. He is a competitor. Just keeps going, keeps going. A little bit disappointed with that one.
Madre Hill takes a rest on 3rd down and 8. And Marius Johnson in at the tailback spot. Larry Lunny under pressure now and hit as he throws. The intended receiver, Anthony Eubanks, but James Gilliard again got a hand on the hand of Barry Lunny. Well, I'm not sure he's had a handful of possessions in this game, passing attempts, where he's been able to stand there and throw. He's
you
been
know
under
what?
Pressure all day.
Carl Reese is up here in the booth, the defensive coordinator for LSU. But I think he gets the MVP today. This defense, first of all, the design is special, but they have been playing so well all day. Carl Reese got them ready for this game.
And Danny Ford takes a timeout. He wants to talk it over. 4th and 8 for the Razorbacks with 4:14 left in the third. LSU leading 28-0.
Shaving can strip away your skin's moisture, leaving it dry, burning. But now you can take the heat out of shaving with new Old Spice Soothing Gel, an amazing 2-in-1 gel that combines aftershave and moisturizer into one soothing formula. Try it. If you don't think this makes your face feel great, call 1-800-PROVE-IT for a full refund. Prove it to yourself. Try new Soothing Gel. Takes the heat out of shaving. And now you've got proof. Guaranteed.
Relax. Kick back. Rest easy. Not the first thoughts that come to mind when investing on your own. Working with a Dean Witter broker, you'll feel differently.
Every client's ambition should be our ambition. Their dreams, our dreams.
Because after all, it's reassuring to know someone is there looking out for your interests. Dean Witter.
measure success one investor at a time.
You know, Georgia would love to go to a bowl game as Ray Goff exits at the end of this year. They need a win on Thursday on Thanksgiving Day against Georgia Tech to get there.
Worst thing that could have happened to Georgia Tech is Georgia buying out Ray Goff's contract. Yep. Because now Tech knows that the Bulldogs are going to come into that game and they are going to be some kind of emotion.
That's on Thursday. Then on Friday, here's your lineup. Carolina against NC State, Purdue, Indiana, and other regional action. And then at 2:30, you've got a national battle. Oklahoma taking on Nebraska. Always a great one. That's all this Thanksgiving weekend on ABC. Check your local listings for the game in your area and with your cable operators for the games available on pay-per-view. 4th down and 8 for the Razorbacks. Marius Johnson in the backfield and Metters in motion. Stepping up is Lunny and incomplete. Eubanks the intended receiver, but again, Lunny hit as he threw, and this time by Anthony McFarland.
Boy, Lunny has struggled all day with that pressure, trying to avoid it. I'm surprised they haven't gone to a 3 or 5 step drop. They keep dropping him deep, and he doesn't have that much time. Although he had time this time, but he's waiting for his receiver, Eubanks, to clear, and then just underthrows him. By that time, he's got pulls on his back, and he can't get the arm strength to get it there.
Boy, a day of nightmares for Barry Lunny. He's been hit all afternoon, even when he's completed his passes. He's been under pressure and hit. The reverse, here's Kennison with a lot of open field. Knocked out at the 45. And a first down for the Tigers. Anthony Hicks, the linebacker, made the stop. But not before Kennison pulled off a gain of 21.
You think that got enough quicks? They say he runs a 4.4. He looks quicker than that. His feet move. They're barely touching the ground. Brought him around on the reverse, and they were taking advantage of what Arkansas was doing. Arkansas now trying to get more aggressive. Everybody running and pursuing. Let them run themselves out of the play. Bring the reverse around where they vacated the area.
Alabama-Auburn just underway. You know, talk about Eddie Kennison, too. One of the most dangerous aspects of his game, punt returns. He hadn't had a chance today. He had the field one. And down goes Tyler in the backfield.
Fooled once, not twice.
Marcus Adair set him down.
Good experienced quality player, plays on the tight side, but they ran the same play, but this time faked it to Kennison and tried to run the pass off of him. Now, if you're going to do that, you better have a lot of protection because that takes time. And Adair didn't give it to him.
You know, the first down by Kennison was the first down of the second half for LSU. They've turned it over throughout the second half.
Arkansas's defense is certainly capable. It gave up only 5 total yards on the ground last week.
Cleveland, nowhere. Right at the line of scrimmage, may have lost one. Gino Bell tripped them up first. And then Del Delco finished them off. And Cleveland a little shaken up on the play. He split time all day with Kevin Falk.
You know who's been very quiet today? How many times have we called Conley's name? Stephen Conley, outstanding player. 13 sacks on the year, and yet today, extremely quiet. Has not been a factor.
So 3rd and 24 for the Tigers. And 2:41 and counting left in the 3rd here. So Arkansas is going to make a move. This is a big play for their defense. Rolling out is Tyler under pressure. Boy, look at the move to the outside. And dropped at the 47. They had to get all the way to the 35 of Arkansas for a first down. Mark Smith on the stop.
Now, is that Flutie-esque? Does that look like
I agreed with you the first time. There's no question.
You know, and there's something more than just his talent. There's an intangible here. He seems to work so well with what Gerry Dinardo is trying to do. But, I mean, this does look like Doug Flutie. He's got those quick feet, turns the shoulder, and the feet follow.
Kessler in for the punt, his first of the afternoon. Mentioned Kennison hasn't been able to fill one here in the second half with everything going on. This is the first one all day by Kessler. And the ball is dropped by Metters, and then he's hit. He called the fair catch. But he put the ball on the ground, though. He dropped the ball, so it's a free ball. You're right. Chris Beard was down there.
There's a flag, though. The ball hit the ground. That's what Gerry Dinardo's got to come out and tell them. Now, could the guy stop and avoid it? And did his knee hit the ground? Was the play dead?
We have a dead ball. Personal foul. 15 yards. First down.
See, they're saying the knee hit the ground, the whistle blew, and then the hit. Gerry Dinardo's saying, wait a minute, he fumbled his ball. All right, here's the fair catch call. Boom. Now, here comes the catch. See? His knee's on the ground right there. But I'm not sure that the defender knows it.
Exactly. If you're Beard, you're saying, how do I know that Mort Metters is not going to take off and run now?
That's exactly right. I mean, he looks at it, he sees the ball hit the ground, and he sees Metters stand up, and he says, I'm going after him.
Brings it out to the 30-yard line for Arkansas, though. The give to the outback this time. Across the 30 to the 32 is Tyrone Henry, the fullback who we've only seen on a few plays from scrimmage this afternoon. The sophomore out of Houston, Texas.
Boy, you know, I feel badly for Chris Beard. He's the guy that got that penalty. Personal foul. But, I mean, he's doing what he's supposed to be. He sees the ball hit the ground. He sees Metters stand up. Boom, hit him.
Henry and Marius Johnson out of the eye now for the Razorbacks. And down went Lunny. He's blown dead at the 29-yard line. He went to one knee as he slipped.
Seen a lot of guys slip today. This field is not in very good shape, to be honest. We were down on it yesterday. Again, before the game this morning, we were on it. This game is, I mean, this field is really chewed up. And watch how Lunny loses his footing. Now, he tries to get that right foot back to push off the pitch, and it just gives out.
And especially there between the hash marks, obviously, where you have most of your action. But a little bit surprising, you know, down here in Baton Rouge, you'd think that the turf certainly would be good most of the year. 3rd and 11 at the 29, excuse me. Lunny, incomplete, double covered on Anthony Eubanks. No way to get that ball to him. James and Hill had him blanketed.
8-man front, lock on. This time they kind of roll into a zone, over under. Boy, they had him bracketed. I like that defense. I like the entire scheme that they're working today against Arkansas.
That's the 6th punt of the day for Matt Waite. Innocent hadn't had a chance to field one in a while. Short punt. And the 3rd catch made by Eddie Kennison at the 41-yard line. So only a 29-yard punt for Waite. And good field position for the Tigers. Barry Lunny has all the career records at Arkansas and has now, you see what he's done with Joe Ferguson right now. Joe Ferguson on the sideline. He has broken his completion record for the season. There's Joe Ferguson working the radio for Arkansas.
Boy, what a quarterback he was. And, of course, Lunny, we told you at the beginning of the telecast, needed 8 completions today to pass Fergie, and he did.
Buffalo Bill quarterback.
He worked for those 8 completions, I'll tell you that.
Flag on the play.
We have a dead ball. False start on the offense. Be 5 yards. Still first down.
LSU was almost flawless in the first half, and here in the second half, they cannot get anything going. Watch Kennison flinch here. Boom, there it is. That's it?
That is it? Well, I'll tell you what. It's a tough game to play.
That could have just been a muscle cramp.
Well, they back him up. So it's 1st and 15 at the 36. Tyler changing play. And now it's to hurry, and he's not going to get it off.
No, delay of game.
And it's gotten ugly here.
A delay of game on the offense. Be a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
You know, Herbert Tyler was almost perfect in the first half. Here, he's starting to...
he's checking his wristband.
Well, you know what happened? They used to send messengers in. They'd send the plays in with other players. But then, in the Florida game and the Alabama game, the guy took a wrong play in. And he didn't get the blocking assignment right. It left things open, and that's how Jamie Howard got hurt. Now they put the plays on the wrist and they signal them in.
Kendall Cleveland on the carry over the right side and back up to the 39-yard line, not far from the original line of scrimmage.
Now the play comes from Morris Watts up top. Now here's Hayward on the sidelines. Now watch, he'll signal the play, and there's the signal. And now on the field, Tyler will go to his wristbands. He has all the signals and the plays on his wristband. He probably needs a computer. Look at all the plays on both wrists. See, now he's looking at the signal. Then he'll go to his wristband, and he'll make the call.
But I'll tell you, in terms of changing a play at the line of scrimmage, you don't have time to go ahead and look down and spend a lot of time looking at your wristband.
Now, that last signal Hayward gave said, if you don't run it right, I'm going to shoot you.
I'm not sure about that. Kendall Cleveland straight ahead up to the 45-yard line. And that will be the last play of the third quarter. So nothing going on scoring-wise here in the third. We'll be back with more between the Razorbacks and the Tigers after this message and a word from our ABC station.
Hey, Remington, shave this. If you can grow it, we can shave it. The newest Remington Triple Foil. The only shaver with 3 micro screens now has a 50% greater cutting rate with a more powerful motor. And 3 flexible foils for those hard-to-shave places on hard-to-shave faces. So make it this smooth, this comfortable, and this close. The new Remington Triple Foil. If you can grow it, we can shave it.
We didn't get into super truck racing just to add another trophy to our collection, or to add another 15 minutes to our fame. And we didn't do it just to show up the competition. Okay, maybe we did. Chevy trucks, like a rock.
What was Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds really about? Find out Sunday on A Beatles C.
Cleo Fields, the liberal's liberal. Mike Foster, the conservative, on crime. Fields voted against the death penalty for drug kingpins. Foster supports the death penalty for drug kingpins. Fields voted to let criminals go free before they serve their time. Foster, do the crime, serve the time. Fields voted to let criminals go free on minor technicalities. Foster opposes letting criminals go free. Fields supports endless appeals for violent criminals. Foster opposes them. On crime, we simply can't afford to cut them loose. Cleo.
Want fun and entertainment? Visit Grand Casino Gulfport and Grand Casino Biloxi, where your dreams can become a reality. There's excitement at every turn. Enjoy free valet, magnificent hotel accommodations, great food, Kids Quest Activity Center, the Grand Arcade for teens, and the best live entertainment featuring the Biloxi Grand Theater and America Live in Gulfport. Grand Casino Biloxi and Grand Casino Gulfport, Mississippi, the ultimate resort destinations.
Ellen and Drew Carey tonight at 7 on Channel 2.
Oh! 28-0, the LSU Tigers, same score as we had at halftime as we start the fourth quarter. Terry Gannon, Tim Brandt, and Lewis Johnson here at Tiger Stadium, better known as Death Valley in these parts, as the sun has begun to set. And Gerry Dinardo's club with a 28-0 lead and a completion out in the flat. Eddie Kennison.
Boy, is that pretty. I love that. That's a little quick 3-step drop. Hit the outside. It's virtually impossible to get pressure on the quarterback, and it's virtually impossible to stop the receiver. The only problem is they didn't go deep enough to get the first down.
You know, Tyler in the first half was 8 out of 10 for 121 yards and a touchdown. Only 2 for 4. For 14 yards and 2 interceptions in the second half. Also his fumble. Back deep, Metters now. And the second punt of the game for Chad Kessler. Metters and Eubanks back for a rush. Oh, look at this kick. Eubanks at his own 3. Out to the 14. If he doesn't feel it, it comes out to the 20. Booming punt by Kessler in Arkansas inside their own 20-yard line.
These days, trying to get
get on top of your financial situation is getting tougher and tougher. What you need is someone with experience and know-how. MetLife can help you get a grip on things and help you make sense of it all. Get Met. It pays.
At Chili's, we're always fixing up something special from the grill, like our Caribbean chicken salad with grilled marinated chicken and grilled tuna salad with ranch dressing and spicy pico de gallo. So if you like your salads fresh from the farm and then hot off the grill, Chili's grills like no place else.
25 years together. They've just flown by. 25 years of kids, jobs, moving. I didn't just want to bring her back to her favorite place. I wanted to give her something she's only dreamt of.
The 25th anniversary diamond necklace.
Here's the buzz on this game. Cross-state rivals collide when the Georgia Bulldogs try to avoid the sting of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Thanksgiving Day on ABC's College Football.
Opening moments of the fourth quarter, and Arkansas taking over at its own 13-yard line. It's been a tough day for their offense. Been shut out all afternoon. They have not been shut out since last year when South Carolina beat them 14-0. So Colorado, Kansas State hooked up in a 10-10 tie. Very Lunny, Amadre Hill hollows his way over the right side for a gain of maybe one. And the going's been tough for Madre all afternoon as well.
SEC football championship, they won't lose that today. They'll still be playing in that. But Arkansas really struggling here this afternoon. Look at this. It has just been a dominant game by LSU. Even with the 3 turnovers here in the last 3 possessions, or last 4 possessions, they still are dominating.
15 yards rushing all day long for the Razorbacks. Wanting to throw. Out to Meadows. And smacked at the 15-yard line. Wow. Kelby Crawford. You dream about those hits if you're a DB.
You sure do, but Crawford better be careful now. You know, no celebrating. Don't stand over and taunt the guy.
Well, how about Meadows holding on to the football, too, huh? 150 pounds and hauling it in.
You know, we made a big deal about his size today, but he's a quality player. I mean, he's caught more passes than any other player in Arkansas history. 50 receptions coming into this ball game. Watch this. He knows he's going to get tagged and still tucks the ball away. Well, I tell you, that's big time by Crawford, though. They've used him like a linebacker today in an 8-man front.
Hill, the long setback on 3rd and 6 at the 17th. Here comes the rush again. Northern over the top. Lunny has room. Lunny's out at the 21, and it looked like he took one right in the thigh. Denard Walker made the hit.
Well, number one, I don't know how Lunny got away from Northern. Then he gets to the outside, and he did take a heck of a hit, and he's still feeling it. All right, watch Northern. He's trying to get that 10th sack of the year. Boom, he comes up and over. That's a good pickup in the backfield by Madre Hill. Now Lunny gets out, and watch what happens to him. He gets drilled below the waist. Boom, right there. And it took him a while to get up. He's still shaky, and they're going to take him to the sidelines.
Took a helmet right in the thigh. But he did gain the first down, and they'll have it 1st and 10 at the 26 when we return to Baton Rouge.
It was that close, Gabe.
The legendary Nürburgring. It sounds crazy, but they let anyone drive on this world-famous racetrack for just a few Deutschmarks. It was here that Porsche engineers tested our new 911 Turbo. Lap after lap of the new 400-horsepower engine, the twin turbo, the liquid all-wheel drive. What did we learn? Well, don't send a German engineer here with an ATM card.
Todd and Celia Unger began their voyage together nearly 40 years ago. Today, they embark on retirement as carefree as when they first set out. That's because for the past 20-some years, they've worked with a broker from Dean Witter.
Respect the power of a client's dream and help them achieve it. At Dean Witter, we measure success one investor at a time.
Knocked out of the game on that last hit, so temporarily at least trying to walk off that pain. That's what he's done today, 9 out of 24, and he has gone down in the backfield a number of times too. Minus 11 yards in rushing, but under pressure all afternoon, sacked a number of times, and with him on the sidelines, Danny Ford turns, well, he's not that young, but he is a freshman. Lejean Pete Burks, the freshman, coming on in relief of Barry Lunny, and those are his stats. Not much going on. He hadn't gotten much of a chance to play.
Exact same size as Barry Lunny, 6'2", 190. Not nearly as experienced. He's a little bit quicker. His arm is not as strong.
Hands it off to Madre Hill, who busted outside up to the 29-yard line. And let's take you up to New York to check in with John Saunders. John, what's going on with Colorado, Kansas State?
Well, Terry, actually, we're going to look at UCLA and USC as USC trying to come back from a 21-0 deficit. DeLon Washington busts this one deep into UCLA territory. And then it's a 3-yard touchdown plunge by Washington. It's now 21-14. Terry, back to you.
All right, John, the other game tied up 10-10, Colorado, Kansas State. And UCLA SC hooked up in a good one. And right here, Barry Lunny back in the ball game, and Eubanks in motion to the near side. And Metters out of bounds when he caught the ball. He had slid out of bounds when he made the catch.
That was in the first half. Terry, in the first half, excuse me, it was LSU played flawlessly, and that became the biggest opponent for Arkansas. But now the biggest opponent for Arkansas is that clock. Down 28 points. They only have just under 13 minutes to play. I still don't feel a sense of urgency, though. They almost have to go to a 2-minute offense. They've got to do something here to pick up the pace because time's running out on them. You can't tell me Arkansas is just going to give up.
So it's 3rd and 7 now at the 29. Madre Hill with a big hole, and he's got a first down across the 40, up to the 42.
All right, now bounce up, get them back in the huddle, get in and out. They're using almost the entire 25-second play clock every time.
Auburn is taking the lead over Alabama. Still in the first there. Patrick Nix with a touchdown pass to Stephen Davis. And obviously that one having implications at the moment. Alabama eligible for a bowl bid until their appeal is ruled on by the NCAA. First down. Lunny flushed out. And now hit in the backfield and dropped. Gabe Northern there again, but I'll tell you what, he had a lot of time. That's a coverage sack.
And again, Lunny's slow getting up. Northern just keeps coming. What a game he's had. That now is officially 3 sacks for Northern. He also had another one that was negated by a penalty. Boy, I tell you, Northern is 240 pounds with great quicks. And watch, he comes full speed and just lays into Lunny. Lunny's taking a pounding today.
Loss of 9, and he was slow getting up on that play. So it backs him up to the 34. Out of the eye, they pitch it to Hill. Can't turn the corner. There are flags on the play right where the tackle was made.
Yeah, not only did they contain him, get great pursuit, and stop him for just a very short game, but also Arkansas is going to be guilty of holding.
Gerry Dinardo wants to decline.
You know, I almost feel sorry for Barry Lunny today.
Holding on the offense.
It's declined. It'll be third down.
Lunny's taking a pounding, and when you think about his career, here's a guy that had to fight through 3 head coaches. You know, they tried to run the option for a while. He's a passing quarterback. They've had a losing record, but you know what? The kid's a class kid. Barry Lunny said if he had to do it all over again, he'd go to Arkansas again. It's been a great experience for him, but boy, that's tough to go through 3 head coaches and all those different changes in the scheme.
How quick was that? The time. Tying up the Tigers. 7-7 now. That's going to be a great one all afternoon long. And through the evening. 3rd and 19 to the air. And incomplete. Eubanks with the flags down. Denard Walker on the coverage. Yep. And they got him.
Eubanks, the intended receiver.
I'd like to take another look at this because the DBs for LSU have done a great job of bracketing these guys and using the sideline. So he's running up his back. He didn't quite get that shoulder in.
On the defenders, be 15 yards from the line of scrimmage. First down.
You know, he almost had a great play on that. He could not get his right shoulder past the receiver, which would have let him play inside out. Instead, it looks as he's running up. Now, if you stop it right here, you can see that Eubanks is doing a great job of keeping him behind him. If he does that, it's pass interference, although both are looking back for the ball, but his right hand now is on Eubanks' back rather than getting that shoulder in front where he'd be able to reach back with both hands and it'll be a good play.
Eubanks using his body, too, to create some of that contact. Madre Hill off tackle and stopped right at the line of scrimmage. And if time permits, stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report featuring scores and highlights from around the country. That's following our game, time permitting. Well, close to 80,000 at the start of this one, and the first half was nothing but LSU. 28-0 at the half, and that's where we stand right now.
Great to see the fans down here excited about their football team again. I mean, the 22 true freshmen they brought in, 10 have played, plus they've got a nice mix of juniors and sophomores that'll be back next year.
Hill looking outside to the 43. Needs to get to the 41 for a first down. Gilliard on the tackle.
Gerry Dinardo has a lot to look forward to, and the fans here should be thankful because they should have a solid club next year, better than this year's.
Yeah, with all the youngsters they have. They have some veterans, too, and they lose some kids, but they've got a solid foundation on which to build. Big Ten scores today. Of course, Penn State with the big win and getting a higher seed in terms of playing for a bowl berth.
Boy, Ohio State continues to roll, isn't it?
Illinois put some points on the board. 48 points from the Illini today. 32. The Metters knocked out of bounds at the 33-yard line. J.J. Metters out in the flat.
Terry, looking at Ohio State and thinking of Hoying and George. Of course, there's Frazier at Nebraska. Who do you like for the Heisman?
I think Eddie George right now, to be honest with you. I mean, what he did last week, it just... I know Tommy Frazier's been awfully good and consistent, but for a guy who is who's done it all for Ohio State, that's a team that you talk about their quarterback situation with Hoying and Glenn and George. I mean, you match those two teams up, and they are very similar. I think it's a big drop after Nebraska and Ohio State in terms of talent. Number 1 and number 2. They're down on the ground, and Arkansas may have gotten it back. I believe they did. How about you, Tim?
Well, speaking of the Heisman, I think that Hoying and George negate each other in some of the votes. In other words, you're coming off the same team, same area. A lot of the voters and the voted, you know, they were mailed out. The Heisman ballots were mailed out last Wednesday. So a lot of those guys, I think, are going to knock some votes away from each other. Frazier, on the other hand, you know, he's been exposed to the country, #1 team in the nation. I think he's going to garner the votes to win it.
Big 8 scores today. Colorado, Kansas State deadlocked in the 4th quarter. 10-10 in Southwest Conference scores. Of course, the bowl picture for the Southwest Conference along with the Big 8. When you talk about the Big 12, that's all tied together this year. 2nd and 13. Straight ahead is Hill to the 32-yard line. Had Rogers there on the stop.
Hill carried the ball.
You know, speaking of the awards, the guys you feel sorry for, guys like Troy Davis at Iowa State. You know, he's had such a great year. He's leading the nation in rushing. Going after that 2,000 yards, and yet, of course, his team is struggling, so consequently, he won't get the votes.
Peyton Manning has been your sentimental favorite all year long, hasn't he?
Yeah, I really think he's the best quarterback in the land this year, but I think being a sophomore, of course, they're not going to vote for a sophomore.
Yeah.
He'll make the best pro.
Here they come after Lunny again. And it's knocked away. May have hit someone right in the helmet. Stansbury was there on the blitz. He got the Lunny first, and you're right. You have to feel for Barry Lunny. It will take a couple of days to recuperate from this one.
Yeah, there's no question about it. If this was a fight, they'd probably stop it with Lunny. He's been down a couple of times. 3 knockdown rule, but again, here they come. Backside pressure, and look,
that hit
Stansbury again. And Stansbury just kind of twirls and throws him down on that shoulder.
So it's 4th and 7 at the 31, and obviously Danny Ford's going to go ahead and go for it. A pop to Lucas and out of bounds. Second time that he's made a catch out of bounds.
J.J. Metters was wide open, and Lunny never looked in his direction. Oh, my. Another great stop by LSU. To the outside goes Lucas, going after the height, and again, he's behind the defender. The ball is just a little bit too long.
So LSU takes over at the 31. Here's Kendall Cleveland trying to get it outside and stays inbounds at the 36. He's dropped there.
You know, it almost looked, I mean, obviously the ball was overthrown, but it almost looked like Lucas, with his height, got to it. And since he's a freshman, didn't know to drag his feet. He'll learn to drag his feet. College, you only need 1 foot in. It looked like perhaps he could have just left his legs behind him.
You know, Tim, it looked like that earlier, too, on the far sideline when he made a catch and he was clearly 2 or 3 yards out of bounds. He really didn't make the attempt to drag the feet. Kendall Cleveland, 24 carries for 103 yards. And Arkansas only 43 yards on the ground. Kevin Falk now in the ball game. And they blow it dead before it gets underway. The second half has not been pretty on either side. Defensive stands on each side of the football, but offensively, a lot of miscues.
We have a dead ball. False start on the offensive team. The 5-yard penalty.
Tigers penalized. Watch McClure. That's the freshman center again. Kind of started it, then stopped it, then started it again.
Taking everyone out. Don't forget Monday Night Football. The 49ers and Jerry Rice going south to take on Marino and the Dolphins. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. Falk with the carry up to the 38. And that'll bring up 3rd and maybe 7 or so.
Boy, Barry Lunny, he has taken a beating today. Jamie Howard took a beating in the Florida game. Also in the Alabama game, and he's out.
It has not been a fun afternoon for the Razorbacks. And on senior day here in Baton Rouge, the Tigers going out in style.
Second half possessions for LSU. 1 first down, 3 turnovers, and 6 penalties.
Tyler throws on the run to LaFleur. Is tight end. First down and a whole lot more. Inside the 20, down to the 15-yard line. Vincent Bradford finally stopped him along with Del Delco. But David LaFleur on a gain of 46.
Did you see the block by Nicky Savoie? Oh, boy, did he clear that thing out.
And you saw LaFleur patting him on the back to thank him a moment ago.
He sure did, because he saw it. It opened the thing up. LaFleur obviously has the size and speed. He's the best tight end of the conference. He's all conference, but Savoie, who's 6'6", 242 pounds. I mean, watch this, folks. Watch number 11. Here it comes. Boom! And I mean, that, folks, is as good as it gets. Mark Smith will feel that for a week.
Ball rests at the 16, and Falk rests at the 19. Anthony Hicks almost took the handoff.
Well, you talk about a slobber knocker. That will rattle the fillings and put your eyeballs in your forehead. Take another look. This kid is 6'6", 242. There goes 44 Smith. Here comes 11 Savoie, and boom, hat to hat. Smith never saw him coming.
What must go through your mind when you line up for the next play from scrimmage after taking a hit like that, if anything?
I'm not sure you're thinking straight.
Now the Tigers, another touchdown over Alabama, so it's 14-7 now in the first.
I'll tell you something about Mark Smith, though. He is a tough kid. Butkus Award nominee, second year in a row for that. He's led the team in tackles. He's trimmed down. He's gotten quicker. He runs a 4.9. He's down to 230. He's a quality player.
There was a holding penalty on that last play, so it backs the Tigers up to the 29-yard line. Lone setback is fault. Quick drop, throw, Wilson to the 23. Well, Cedric Wilson early in the game, 4 catches on that first drive, and that set the tone for the touchdown. And Razorbacks trying to cool off on the sideline a little bit. It'll take more than that. It's been a long afternoon.
Great game plan for LSU offensively and defensively, and they've executed very, very well. Offensively, the quick release, the quick pass, spread the field, throw the 3-step drops, open the field for the running game. And defensively, 8-man front, man coverage, and they have done very, very well playing with a man free.
Wilson, Kennison to the far side. And timeout taken by LSU. 28-0 Tigers. Back in a moment.
A company most people never heard of is changing the way we fight cancer and kidney failure. By inducing the body to produce blood cells, chemotherapy and anemia patients are gaining new strength. Helping to grow blood cells helped Amgen become the world's largest independent biotech company. Where do you find companies with such pioneering spirit? Actually, there's a list of them printed every day. NASDAQ, the stock market for the next 100 years.
Now, you can save 25% off regular prices on some of Goodyear's most popular passenger performance and light truck tires. Everyday low prices start at only $19.99. Believe it. Just turn up at any participating Goodyear retailer. But hurry, this sale ends soon.
Enterprise? Hi, I'm at the repair shop. I need to rent a car.
Enterprise will arrange to pick you up,
This is great.
drive you to our place, and get you on your way. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
A date on the calendar. Monthly exams. The beat of a heart. A glimpse into the future. All the pieces that add up to a large dose of caring and concern from a pioneer in managed health care. Because babies need to be taken care of well before they're born. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock.
CFA College Football on ABC Sports brought to you by Amstel Light, a light beer for a heavy world. De Beers, a diamond is forever. Kellogg's, with good taste, nutrition, and value, the best to you each morning from Kellogg's. And Chili's Grill and Bar. Chili's grills like no place else. LSU Tiger Marching Band and the faithful on hand for a very enjoyable afternoon for them. 28-0 LSU with 4:31 left. And you look at the yardage, 341 for LSU.
Been a good old-fashioned spanking, and give that guy a lot of credit. Gerry Dinardo replaced Curly Holman. Comes down here, and he's the first coach to take a losing team and turn it into a winner in his very first year. First coach here at LSU.
First winning season since 1988.
And how about the defense? They've given up only 3 touchdowns in the last 16 quarters.
Tyler on the scramble. Pretty nifty. Down to about the 16-yard line. And let's take you down to the field. Check in with Lewis Johnson. Lewis?
Guys, I'm on the Arkansas sideline, and you're looking at the Southeastern Conference, Southeastern West Conference champions. Can you believe that? Look at these guys. The Arkansas team is devastated. They would never have imagined to come into this game and take the beating that they have. Lunny is on the bench there, biting a towel. He's okay physically, but mentally he's got to be damaged. He'll be ready to play the championship game coming up against Florida later in the season.
Yeah, and Lewis, the positive is that Arkansas has next week off to prepare for that SEC title game, whereas Florida has to go against Florida State, which is always a physical, emotional game.
Tyler to throw to the end zone to Wilson off his fingertips. He was there and takes a tumble over the fence. Woo. Actually got up on top of that.
Wanted to get in bed.
Vehicle. Yeah. Not yet, Shedrick. Can't rest yet.
Boy, this is how close this was to a touchdown. On his fingertips, Tyler put it right there. He had Nunnerly beaten. And up on the bed and over the fence. Now they're not sitting on the fence anymore. They're going to get their 6th win and probably a bowl bid and get into the Independence Bowl.
You know, I've known Gerry Dinardo a long time, going back to his playing days at Notre Dame, and he was very much the same type of player as he is a coach. I mean, very loose, very open. I mean, he'll tell you what he feels, and I think very much a player's coach, and created a lot of excitement in his first year here. Well, look at Tyler, get out. Again, and finally down at the 26. Anthony Hicks on the stop. You know who he reminds me of? Doug Flutie. Anthony Hicks shaken up on the play. And we will step away. 4:09 remaining in this one. LSU up big.
So there's 365 days in a year, 250 of which you're working for the rent, about 98 whole days sleeping, another 6 doing things you don't want to for someone else who doesn't appreciate it, 1 day brushing your teeth, 2 days combing your hair, 3 entire days standing in elevators, and 4 days waiting in line at the DMV, which, believe it or not, leaves only 1 measly day to sit back and have a beer. So make it a great tasting one. And since there's not much time left to work out, make it a light. Amstel Light, a light beer for a heavy world.
Attention, theater buffs. Hitachi Ultravision asked the question, to be real or not to be? Bet you always thought Hamlet asked that. Hello, movie mavens. With its ultra-clear, ultra-bright, ultra-sharp picture, Hitachi Ultravision asks, who's real? To anyone who's ever guessed whodunit. I just love surprise endings. Don't you? Ultravision Home Theater. TVs, VCRs, camcorders. Only from Hitachi.
Our German engineers could have road tested the new Porsche 911 Carrera 4 back home in Germany. They could have taken the 270 horsepower engine out on the Autobahn again, or driven the Black Forest with the all-wheel drive and radical suspension. They could have done all that back home. But then, they wouldn't have gotten all this neat stuff.
We took a poll of the LSU coaches, asked them what their play of the year was. No surprise. September 16th, last play of the game, Patrick Nix to the end zone, and Troy Twilley breaks it up, preserving a 12-6 win over the Auburn Tigers in one of the huge wins in the first year of Gerry Dinardo. There's the man responsible for that last play, and you wonder if they change it at all after this game. At 28-0, I'm not sure they could pick one play out. This game has got to rank up there.
Still working on Hicks. It was a shoulder injury.
And the pitch out to Coy Nichols with his first carry of the game. Return kickoffs. Alabama scored again, 14-14 in that one. You know, Danny Ford, you talk about the job Gerry Dinardo's done here in his first year, but how about the season for Danny Ford? And if, you know, things weren't happening like they are in Evanston, Illinois, this man might be the coach of the year in college football.
Well, I agree with you. You know, he got his SEC West title in just his 3rd year. He's building a power. He's not there yet. He's younger than the youngest coach ever to win a national championship. He was 33 at Clemson in 1981, and he'll get it done at Arkansas. Set the 25-second play clock here.
mentioned the name Danny Ford in Clemson, South Carolina, and people still genuflect every once in a while. I mean, he is still so big.
Pete Burke's back in the ballgame at quarterback.
Out to Nichols. Bounces outside to the 37. Yeah, Burks was in for one series when Lunny went out with the injury. And
you know, the Arkansas got off to a shaky start. Golly, they lost to SMU. That was week 1. Week 2, Navy crushed SMU, and people said Arkansas is not a very good club right now. They seem to turn things around. They made Lunny the top quarterback, #1 quarterback, and all of a sudden, look, they started winning 4 wins in a row, got on a roll, lost to Tennessee in a tough ball game, and that came back and finished strongly until today. 8-2, 6-1 in the conference, SEC West champions.
3rd and 1 at the 36, straight ahead for the first down. You know, you talked about the shutout coming in this game that Arkansas is trying to avoid. The last time LSU shut out an opponent was the last winning season, 1988. And that was against Texas A&M. Last time they shut out Arkansas was back in 1934. That was 60-0 at Shreveport, where they played most of those matchups throughout the years.
Well, I guess if you're looking for the best case scenario, the bottom line is Arkansas will still go to the title game in the SEC, and with the win today, LSU gets its 6th win and will qualify for a bowl consideration.
Nichols fighting his way across midfield up to about the 49 of LSU. Well, don't forget, next Saturday at noon Eastern on ABC, you've got Florida State and Florida, one of the great matchups all year long, as well as Ohio State and Michigan. You get one of those 2 games next Saturday. And then at 3:30 Eastern, coverage of one of golf's most entertaining events. Tom Watson, Fred Couples, Corey Pavin, and Peter Jacobson in the Skins game. That's all next Saturday here on ABC Sports. So either one of those first 2 games can't lose. Ohio State, Michigan, and Florida State, Florida. Works and picked off by Talby Crawford. At the 31-yard line, I guess it's only fitting.
Boy, what a game Crawford has played. LSU had loaded up to stop the Arkansas run. They used Crawford as a linebacker in an 8-man front. He's usually the strong safety. Then they would cheat him back on passing downs, and he became the strong safety again. Solid game plan, and Crawford's come up big. He's made a lot of tackles, and now he gets the interception.
Robert Toomer now in at tailback for LSU. Cleveland and Falk got to work through most of this game, and now it's Toomer with a carry up to the 37-yard line. The senior tailback getting some work. Here's the SEC today, what's taking place. Florida with a big win. Tennessee with a close win over Kentucky. Clemson has defeated South Carolina. Of course, this game in Alabama-Auburn tied up at 14 in the 2nd quarter.
And with this win today, LSU gets its first non-losing season since 1988. Its first winning season since 1988. And the Tiger fans are excited about their freshman.
And more importantly, I think to them, 6 wins and a possible bowl, and I don't think there's a whole lot of doubt that they will get a bowl bid. Melvin Hill now in at quarterback and hands off to Robert Toomer. And up to about the 40-yard line. And in terms of the bowl picture, here's what that means. Remember, you know, the #1 team, the winner of the championship game, December 2nd on ABC, goes to the Alliance, and then #2 pick, Top USA Citrus Bowl, the Outback, Peach, and it goes down the line from there. So the Independents, perhaps, and LSU goes there, and we still have to wait to see where Arkansas will go.
They got Gerry Dinardo with the bucket. I can't tell you, folks, how big this win is for the folks here at LSU.
Toomer bounces up to the 42-yard line, close to another first down.
That's a 2-bucket day. They treated this like a bowl game.
He thought it was over after the first one, and back came the ice.
Well, you beat the Western Conference champ, Western Division champ. That's a 2-bucket day.
All right, here's the probabilities now. Of course, the winner goes to the Alliance. You know, Tennessee, if they don't make the Alliance, the Citrus Bowl, and then you've got Arkansas, Auburn, Arkansas for the Outback and the Peach. The worst Arkansas feels they can do to Peach. A lot hinges on the Alabama-Auburn game that's going on right now, too.
Yeah, and the Arkansas people yesterday were saying, hey, we hope we get one of those Florida Bowls. That's what we're playing for. So I think they'd be disappointed with the Peach. That's a 3-bucket game. They got him again. He's getting drilled.
And now he's going down to the end of the sideline. He's going about the 20-yard line.
They're going to have to go mix up a new batch to get him again.
It has been a while since they've had a winning season here. It's been a while since this crowd has been so turned on. Gerry Dinardo came. When he took the job, he said, I want to bring the magic back. It's my responsibility to bring the magic back. And he's starting to do that. Very quickly, let's check in with John Saunders in New York.
UCLA and USC. Brad Otten trying to lead the drive back. Play action, 1 yard to Tyler Cashman. 2-point conversion, no good. It's 24-20, about 3 minutes left. Terry.
All right, John, so UCLA with the lead there. And time running out on the final game here at Tiger Stadium. And smiles on the faces of the Tiger coaching staff. Gerry Dinardo taking this team to its first winning season since 1988 and getting that magic number 6 in the win column.
Final score, LSU 28, Arkansas.
28-0. The Tigers with the win over the Arkansas Razorbacks. We're back in a moment.